What's up, guys, and welcome to Laser Everything. It's Prime Day. Woo! So we're here to help you spend your money. It, as always, is a little bit of a fundraiser for us when these Prime Days come up because we are sharing a bunch of affiliate links with you guys. So we may make some money at no cost to you if you choose to buy anything in this list with the affiliate link that we provide. Just a disclaimer at the beginning. It helps support the channel and all the fun things that we do here. Rhiannon is here today.
Hello.
And Rhiannon helped me build this list. Kyle is somewhere. I don't know where Kyle is. He's around. I'm not really sure where. And he'll probably jump in like halfway through randomly, as Kyle does from time to time. But we have a very large list of things to go through today. I think Kyle, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure Kyle made his own separate list. So he may have an additional list or a lot of items to add to this when he comes through. So this may not be the complete list. If you want to follow along, you can go down into the description under the affiliate link section. There is a link where you can see this spreadsheet right here and follow along with us live. So if you want to check out any of the items on this list, or you want to be able to click the links as we go, go ahead and click that link down in the description. Again, using any of these helps support the channel, and we really appreciate that. Also, before we get started, ironically, this live stream is sponsored by Johnson Plastics Plus. We love you guys, and they're actually going to come in as a key player about halfway through this list, and I'm going to leave it a surprise as to why, but we need some stuff from them that we couldn't find on Amazon, and we're going to explain that when we get to it. But they did sponsor today's stream, so make sure to go check out that link down in the description as well. We have a coupon code that always gets you 15% off just about everything in the store. It's YLRZDF, and if you use that code, you can save some money, even though they're not Amazon. So with all of that said, guys, I think we're about ready to get started. Kyle should be joining us very shortly. I have so many questions for him. What did he add? What was the thing he added?
Slow cooker.
Kyle added a slow cooker to like the preemptive list, and I don't know why. We're very confused. So if you guys have any theories about why Kyle added a slow cooker to the Amazon Prime Big Deals Day list, leave them in live chat. I'd love to hear your theories. What's up to everybody in chat today? I see Laura here, Tom Holloway. What's up, man? Laura's here. We got Anthony, Wacky Windsurfer. What's up, dude? Vince is here as always. Gearant, great to have you. I think you were first, if I recall correctly. And a ton of other guys. There's actually a bump. We got Gretchen's in here. Hey, Kyle's here. What's up, man?
What's up?
Oh, you are not coming through the right thing. Let me turn that down. You speak again.
Test.
All right, well, I'm going to work on that in the background here. While I do that, can you explain to us why there is a slow cooker on this list?
I would be happy to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, we've already had the conversation on podcast about preparing for the holidays, did we not? A couple of times even.
Yeah.
So, the idea behind a slow cooker is it's an easy way to basically make a meal where you're nutritioning yourself properly and not just eating crap fast food, which I'm also guilty of during the holidays because it's too damn busy. But the idea is, taking care of yourself, making a better meal. And let's face it, a lot of us are guilty of working 12 to 16 hours for the next 3 months or 2 months during the holidays. So it's hard to eat properly and also still get crap done. So I figure it's an easy way to kind of set it in the corner of the shop. You have a hot meal at the end of the day or in the middle of your day. And it was a decent deal. I literally have the same crock pot it's not Crock-Pot brand, but I have the same Crock-Pot on there and I've been using it for years. So, and I paid like more than double that. So that was my thinking, trying to take care of people. David oh my God, my brain. Troncoso. Sorry if I butchered that. It said check out air fryers too. So it's a good shout. I will have to look through and see if I can find one of those as well. Good way to heat up pizza if you haven't. Yeah. Garrett says slow cooker is perfect for softening acrylic sheets. I don't know how much how soft you're looking to get a big piece of acrylic, but I don't think it'll fit in there. Maybe something that's already cut out. I need a bigger air fryer, Kyle. I'll work on it. So that's why you'll see some of the weird ads that I've added in there. It's to kind of take care of ourselves and our business while we're working, not just, not just the direct laser business stuff. It's like the break room business stuff. I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Garant says, haven't seen Kyle in Discord in a couple weeks. Tell him we miss him there. I've been around. It's been there goes Alex. He's working on his audio. Things have been hectic with me and my health. Plus it doesn't help that I had COVID during the last live stream, so you didn't physically see me on camera. So that doesn't help either. I've been like the absent buddy. Hope everyone's doing well. Vince says maybe a rowboat too. Nice. That would be appropriate for the coming week. Laura says I can't stay. It's lunchtime. So I was right with the crock pot. Yep, Vince. Kyle was hungry. I think Alex will be back in just a minute. I'm still catching up. You can also get a stove that is an air fryer. True. So an air fryer is basically just a convection oven. Or it's an oven with one of the fans in the back. I don't know if convection is the right word for that, but that is true. And slow cooker. No, it's a little different. Just bought a soldering iron that actually gets hot enough to solder with from Gresh. That's super important because if it's not hot enough to solder with, you basically just have, well, something useless. It's definitely not a soldering iron. Where are the rest of my favorite Fleetwood Mac songs? You're in the wrong place for that. That sounds like a monetary strike right there. On my way to design interview. Good luck, Engraved Dreams. Best of luck with that, buddy. Let me pull up the list on my side here and start going through some of the stuff that I had. Garant use what every day? Sorry, trying to chat with Alex. Hako 888D soldering iron. Ah, sounds fancy. What's up, Andrew? How we doing? How we doing? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to work with Alex to get things back up and running for him. Joe says he needs a steep discount on an inflatable hot tub. I think we all do. That would be wonderful. All right. So Alex is getting that going. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the list. And we'll kind of get going from there. Okay. Sorry, guys. My stuff is all cooked on my side. We're back up and running. So since we're on the subject of slow cookers, I'm going to start with the bottom and kind of work my way up here. If you guys want a link to this, I believe it's already in the description. But if it's not, when Alex gets back in, we will send it over that way. But I don't want to keep you guys hanging. So here we go. So under the preemptive list that I had going that we got copied over here. So obviously it's there. But I also suggested mini fridges and stuff to go in the mini fridge. So Amazon actually has a deal right now on energy drinks and stuff like that as well. And they're actually cheaper than I can get them in the store. So if you're into energy drinks like Red Bull or NOS, that's a pretty good deal. And there was a $150 mini fridge right on the front page of the big deals day. I'll get that added in there. Under other, working our way up here, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Gorilla Glue Gun. So you can't really go wrong with having a glue gun, particularly a quality one. These sticks, by the way, are freaking fantastic. Hey, Jack, how's it going, buddy? you can't go wrong with a glue stick from Gorilla. So I've had some separation problems with hot glue sticks in the past. And coming back and retrying these glue sticks have been fantastic for me. Actually quite experience changing when it comes to that. A royal headache with some of the more generic ones. So that's all I have to really say about that. I feel the same way about their wood glue, actually, which has been on here for, I think I did that for the last Big Deals Day. So all in all, good products. Haven't had a single bad experience with a Gorilla product. So you got this going for you. And we have a cash box. So this is another Alex and Rhiannon item. I don't know their talking points on these, but I will say being able to organize your cash as a business, particularly if you're doing in-person business. If you're not doing in-person business, you're probably not dealing with cash. But the ability to transact with people and doing it out of a cash box means that you're able to kind of get through transactions without having to reach into a pocket or a purse or a weird envelope. It makes it a little bit more professional, and it makes it feel a lot less sketchy. So I'm pretty sure that's probably where Alex is coming from with that. And since Alex isn't here, I'm the one making the talking points. Traveling for events, Goodwill is the best. Yeah, true. So, especially if you're doing travel events or if you're getting started with in-person stuff, a cash box is like invaluable. I can't tell you how many people get weirded out by in-person transactions when they're not using a card and they're using cash. If you have to reach into your pocket to pull money out to make change, I know it sounds weird, but it doesn't. A lot of people don't feel like the transaction is legit that way. Not really sure how to describe it other than that. And most people aren't using a register either. Exactly. So this is a good alternative. It's lockable, comes with keys. And yeah, great way to do that. I actually used not this box, but a similar one when we were running a trading post at a day camp. It was fantastic for that. Shady dealings in gas station parking lots. Exactly, Anthony. Exactly. So pulling up next. Our list went wonky here. Compressed air duster. So this is another great option. If you're looking to get away from, actually, if you're trying to get away from these things, right? This is a fantastic option, and it's great for cleaning. It's great for dusting out stuff under the laser when you don't want it to move. Because a lot of the time you can actually control the amount of airflow, particularly predicting how much airflow there's going to be, where you can't always do that with the trigger. Yep, Resin Dragon Studio says I have one of those. Works great. So many things. Exactly. So, I mean, the pictures kind of do it justice, and you get the idea of what it's good for. I use something similar for cleaning off the lens when I don't want to physically touch it. So the Galvo head lens, I will take one of those like brushless dusters and blow it off. And it is fantastic for that. Also really good for doing when you're in the middle of a deep engrave and you kind of want to get a better look. If there's any buildup, it's fantastic for that too. Also, if you're having a hard time with like soot buildup sticking to stuff. So static charge on your laser bed can actually cause the soot to stick to it instead of going straight out the exhaust. You'll kind of sometimes see, if you ever done like a brass coin, for example, you'll see like a little snail trail of like soot that goes from the coin to the exhaust. And this is a fantastic way of trying to get that up, where the exhaust may just have a hard time overcoming that little static charge. So got a link for that in there. It's got a bunch of attachments for getting into small little nooks and crannies and a brush and all that. The bonus to these is they're great for cleaning keyboards. So if you're somebody who just has a really nasty keyboard, this is great too. Lots of little bonuses and pretty useful. And it's rechargeable and portable. So shop air for that. Yeah, if you have a compressor, then this is kind of probably not needed for you. But if you don't, this is a good alternative. And we got cleaning. So this is one of the items on my list. I don't know if Alex had it too. Oh, nope. This is not power wash. Oh, that's the wrong item. I guess I'll go over this. Tool organizer. So this is a pretty sweet deal. If you're big on power tools, if you got a lot of stuff floating around the shop, particularly that run off of batteries, this is a great way to get them all in one place. So basically, if you're like me, I can't really show you right now, but I have 3 different drills with 3 different size batteries that do not fit into each other. This would literally be fantastic as like a charging station organization thing. And I'm probably going to order one of these actually at the end of stream. So the idea is you basically hang up the drill. You have extra slottage for other tools that don't hang. So if you have like a ratchet driver or something that just doesn't hang right, fits right there. You got a little charging station for the batteries. And you got a little tool station for common tools that you might use with it. And yeah, that's the idea. Not really much to say about this other than what you see is what you get, I guess. So that's the idea. And it is a significant percentage off. It's 43% off right now. So pretty solid. And we got our typical microfiber cleaning cloths. You can't really go wrong with these. They're fantastic for cleaning. I use them all the time after a post engrave, particularly on cleaning powder coated tumblers. So I will use these for the wipe up afterwards, where I'll also use one of the melamine sponges to get like the sticky aftermath of the engrave basically off the metal, particularly if I'm not using the fiber, if I'm using the CO2, where it didn't bite into the metal at all. This is fantastic. Melamine followed up with a wipe with this, and that's it. Do those cloths wash well? I generally use a rag and then throw the rag out. I'll throw them in the wash, yeah, particularly if I'm only using them for powder coat and they're not getting any metal dust on them. I will wash them. The ones that have metal dust I actually keep separate. And the reason being is I don't want to accidentally use them to wipe something and end up scratching or embedding those little pieces of micro metal into something else. And Miranda says as long as they're not used for oil. Yeah, I probably wouldn't use microfiber for oil anyway. I'd use like one of those tea towels. Better for that. And Anthony says, don't feel so bad throwing them away. Yeah. So a lot of these are recyclable or recycled, made from recycled material as well. So the best way I can handle or suggest handling that is if you use them for oil, be careful with that because you're just going to mix the oil in with anything else you wash. And number two, if you use it, or oil, yeah, if you use it for metal, I wouldn't suggest washing it with other stuff or really at all. If there's a lot of metal embedded in the microfibers, they're just going to stick to it. So, yeah. Oh, God, they're moving stuff. And speaking of melamine sponges, here we are with our melamine sponges. So these guys are fantastic for powder coat tumblers, like the very best. Anything that has that surface, particularly that don't have a chance to get bit into, these are fantastic for moving any of that residue that's left behind from paint, from powder coat, from anything like that. I'll literally use some LA Totally Awesome and one of these. I will give everything a quick scrub. Doesn't even have to be a super hard scrub. And then either a quick rinse with water, or even just glass cleaner or a spray of water in a spritz bottle if you don't have a sink in your shop is perfect. And then I wipe it down with a microfiber to dry it and remove everything. And yeah, just perfect stuff. Another tip on washing microfibers from the YouTuber says wash microfibers with no dye, odor, detergent, cold water, dry, low heat. Thanks for that. And Miranda says, yeah, I just wanted to mention that before someone pours oil in one and then tries to wash dry it. Yep. You don't want to get a bunch of oil all over your washer and dryer and clothes and other rags that are now going to be covered in oil. That's a good point. And Resin says they work great for cleaning around the house. Totally agree. So these are fantastic for that. They're also great if you so the residue that's left behind from like engraving off like the top layer of ply or like high density fiberboard or medium density fiberboard, that like glue residue, a little bit of like a detergent, not a detergent, like alcohol or glass cleaner works. I guess LA Totally Awesome works too, but a little bit of that with this. Don't spray the whatever you're using to clean directly on the wood, because it'll absorb into the engraved area. But if you spray it onto the sponge itself and then wipe like the high glossy area that residue sticks to, it removes it super easy, and then you don't end up with that tacky feel on the top. So pro tip there. And the guys at the shop added a electric standing desk. So this is just your generic electric standing desk, $89, and it gets you off your butt. So great way to get into the habit of standing up while you work. Particularly if you're not at the laser, this is a great way to kind of work on projects. If you have to assemble a project, work on a glue up, anything like that, this gets the project up to a good height for your hands to work on, so that you're not crunched over, hurting your back, especially if you're working long hours on like a really big assembly project. And Miranda says, we just bought that desk for me. Awesome. Jack says, I had a nice standing desk at my office, at my last office, but my chair was not tall enough. I think you're missing the point, Jack. And Anthony says he has that one in black. And also Miranda says, so toddlers can't reach your computer. Those are all fantastic points. Andrew says on the no-name electric standing desk, if they have a safety for moving, you can sometimes disable it. Yeah, be careful with that. Monitors were too heavy. It was tripping the alarm and wouldn't go up. That's a good point. Yeah. Be wary of that. They're usually resistance based on the motors. So it's probably what's dragging it. But yeah, not much else to say. It's a standing desk. It does the thing, goes up and down. It helps you not destroy your back while you're working. So there you go. And here's a more different standing desk. 127 bucks, 20% off. And it's black. And it's also on wheels. So if you need it to kind of move in and out of a corner or against a wall, maybe this is a better option for you. Andrew says, definitely not recommended to disable around toddlers. That's a fair point. Good call. And on top of the 20% off, you also get a $10 off coupon, saving you another whatever percent that is. My brain can't do math on the fly like that right now. Would a standing desk hold up a desktop CO2? Depends on how heavy it is, and they're both going to have their own weight rating. So let's scroll down. This one's rated for 178 pounds. So it really depends. Are you talking like a K40? Or are you talking like a Thunderbolt with an RF tube? Because those are going to be very, very, very different weights. So like a K40, you probably wouldn't want to put the chiller up there with the K40 and all your project materials. But with like a Thunderbolt, just the machine's already beyond the weight limit for most standing desks. So kind of gotta balance that. Yeah, sometimes around 100 pounds. Yeah, you can get some of the cheaper machines that don't have a ton of like the extra dust collection tray in the middle and the extra like the super thick casing. You're going to want to be careful. Look at the weight of the unit for sure. Because there are some desktop units that are multiple hundreds of pounds. And then there are a lot of them that are going to be more in like that 150 pound range and less. So double check that. There are some standing desks out there that are more like 350 to 450 for your working weight. Like I could lay on it and go up and down with it, but those are also going to cost you probably triple or more this amount. So just some factors to keep in mind there. This is more to kind of get you up off of your chair, help your back out, and get stuff that you're working on into a better position for you to work around. Continuing on with the list. We're in workshop organization. So magnetic tool holder strips. So these kind of just mount and you slap stuff up and it sticks. So that's the idea. So getting tools up out of your work area so that you can work in it. And then when you need it, you pull one down and you do what you need to do. And then you put it back. Putting it back being the key phrase there. Because a lot of us don't put stuff back when we're done and we end up with a messy shop. Oh, pro tip from Chris. Most of those desks use 8mm threads for the feet. You can easily get casters on them if you want it to be mobile too. So good call on that. So if those wheels don't work for you, you can pick up a set of maybe beefier casters. Just be careful as you raise it up. You're also raising how high you're going to. So if you use like the automatic height adjustment on those where you're programming in the height, if there's anything your stuff can bump into on the way up or the way down, just be aware of that. being able to drag your desk over to babysit a laser is nice too. Yeah, very good point. We got next a lumber storage mount. So let's pull that up. Yep, there we go. So this is fantastic if you're working with a lot of sheet stock or bar materials. So if you, for example, have, depending on the projects that you work on. So if you're from back in the day, one of the big projects that Alex had to work on, I remember, was like sheet stock aluminum, not sheet stock, but bar stock. So I remember those floating around the shop for him, and it was just causing havoc because they were so big and long and they were in the way. And the ability to get those out of the way while he was working on one and not tripping on the other dozen he was working on, super huge. And where aluminum is super light, would totally be fine on this. The highest rated stainless I've seen are only around 200 pounds. The newest one from Flexi Spot, I think, was rated for 450. But don't quote me on that. Read the spec sheet. Yep, good point, Andrew. So the ability to kind of get the materials that you're not using out of your way, again, kind of the same idea as the last few things, just increase efficiency, particularly during the holiday season where you're in a rush. Tripping on stuff is not awesome. So the ability to get stuff up and out of your way, super ideal and helpful. So this is not going to be for everyone. Not everyone works with big stuff like this or has the ability to. But the nice part about it too is these just mount to the studs in your wall. So you can adjust how wide they are. So if you just have other stuff that kind of fit the same format but aren't as wide as what you're seeing here, this is a better way of viewing it. But it has a recommended mounting distance, but nothing says you can't mount them closer and put narrower materials on them. And actually, I've seen people use these as drying racks too. So if you're, for example, you mark something and you spray paint it before assembly, you need to let it kind of cure and dry. What they'll do is they'll use like a little hook and they'll hang it on one of these, and yeah, that's it. So lots of different little options, and moving on. We got the Work Pro adjustable garage workbench. So Alex has a bunch of these in the shop, and they're super helpful. You can actually replace the feet with casters if you really want to, though you're going to want to be careful if you're loading this up with weight, especially if you're moving it, because the legs are close together. If you're not careful, if you hit a little bump in the road, so to speak, you can very easily topple it if you have the height set really high, because remember, these legs are also height adjustable. So just keep that in mind with your kind of center of mass and how heavy you're putting all the weight on top, because these do carry a ton of weight. And yeah, these are fantastic. They're super solid. They've easily held us up while we were working on rigging for Lasered. And they handle the CO2 laser, the UV laser, the fiber lasers. Alex had the light object Ranger 3 on his, and still does. He uses that as the stand for it. Basically, these are all of Alex's workbenches in the shop, essentially. So super solid. They are 20% off right now, which is a fantastic deal. And if you want it to come with casters, they actually have an option for that now. So you don't even have to order them separate if you don't want to. So good stuff on that. If you need a workbench, check that out. Somebody broke that link. So we're going to move on. And that's the thing we already checked out. So we are up into tech. I'm going to check on Alex really quick. Andrew says it weighs maybe 30 pounds. Its height is adjustable, tilt adjustable, and has casters. Yeah. There you go. It's starting to go hoarse. They're actively adding stuff, as you can see. There's a couple links in here that we need to correct. So I'll also send that to Rhiannon. What was it? So I don't have the link active right now, but we'll get it updated. Dawn Power Wash was one of the ones where the link is broken. We're going to update that. So Dawn Power Wash, it's like dish soap on crack. It is super hopped up, and it basically eats away at any loose grit or nastiness or soot left over on the surface. And it is fantastic for tumblers. So if I don't use LA Totally Awesome on it, or it's not doing the job, if it's some kind of funky powder coat residue that it just won't eat into, I will switch to Dawn Power Wash, and it just sits on the surface as a foam. It sprays on kind of like a foaming sprayer, and it will just burrow into anything that shouldn't be there. But it leaves the powder coat, at least for me, it's left the powder coat and anything perfectly intact. It's just a dish detergent. So anything you'd use a dish detergent on, it should be fine for. So that counts as hand washing, right? But that is a pro tip, and it is super cheap. The one that we're linking comes with 3 refills. So it's going to last you probably forever if you're only using it in your shop. So yeah. We're going to dig into tech. So under tech, I had kind of a couple of things in mind here. A lot of people might have more than one laser, or their computer in particular is nowhere near where the laser is in terms of where the room layout is. So if you're actively trying to align something, you may have a completely terrible time trying to shift around in Lightburn where you're getting stuff aligned. So something like this can be super helpful, where you can kind of control it while you're standing at the laser. So these are totally fine for working like across the room, and to get stuff aligned if you need to swap out text, or if you just wanted to use the mouse for shifting stuff around, the arrow keys, whatever. And it's just a cheap little keyboard that gets the job done. It's wireless. Turn it off when you're done with it. Turn it on when you need it. And there's not really much else to say on that. The idea was just to kind of keep it cheap and approachable for somebody who needs something from across the room and isn't going to be actively typing on it all day. Because who wants to spend $100 on a keyboard they're only going to use for like 5 seconds at a time, right? Geraint says print and cut is a huge issue for me. Since the laser was far from the PC, I hooked up a wireless number pad. Yep, that's kind of the idea here. So this is functionally a wireless number pad, but you get a lot more with it. So check that out. That's there for you. And oh, it's apparently spill proof. That's helpful. I didn't know that, but I have one of these sitting upstairs. So check that out if you need it. Asus VivoBook Go. So I believe this was both on my list and Alex's list. This is ridiculously cheap for a computer that's basically good enough to do anything basic you need to do with it. If you're doing a bunch of photo editing and manipulation for product photos, this will get it done, but it's probably not ideal for that. This is more for like the user who wants to run Lightburn or do project design while they're on the go. If you can't sit in your shop all the time, or if you're traveling to and from work, this is fantastic. It's super light, super thin, easy to store in a backpack. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, which is more than enough for Lightburn. It's got a pretty modern Ryzen CPU in it, and it's got a 512 gig SSD. So it's got plenty of storage. So that's kind of the idea. And it just gets you into something that works. Yeah, not much else to say about that. The other versions of this have been reliable in the past when looking at reviews. This one I haven't had hands on with, but for $299, I feel like it's pretty difficult to go wrong. So yeah. And we're up to a Lenovo ThinkPad. So this is definitely an Alex pick here. He's a sucker for Lenovo's. So we have a ton of RAM, a ton of storage, a Ryzen 7 CPU, and a bigger price tag. So it's still 15% off, save $150. And I'm a sucker for computers with the little dimple in the keyboard. So when you can't have a mouse if you're on the go, if you don't have a place to put a mouse while you're on the go, I really, 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 really like the little dimple trackpad. Yes, Andrew, that was 40 gigs of RAM. And it's also Windows 11 Pro. So if you're big on doing local accounts and the Windows login stuff, you got Windows 11 Pro on this one. It's also got a fingerprint reader, which is something I've never used on a laptop, but yeah, there you go. So that's that. We're digging into the next one. This is an even beefier laptop. So if you really need to do a ton of photo editing, if you're video editing stuff on your laptop, this is probably going to be a better option for you. It's got a ton of storage. If you're doing product display stuff for advertising or anything like that, and you're doing a lot of video, this is going to have the storage to kind of help. It's a little overkill and ridiculous, but the price for what it is not bad. And again, get the little dimple. So this is another Alex pick, being a Lenovo ThinkPad. And in fairness, they are built very well. They review very well. Yeah. IBM ThinkPad keyboard dimple. You actually use that thing? Yes, I love that thing. If you've ever had the displeasure of using a laptop on a moving train where you don't have a place to put a mouse, I prefer that over the normal laptop trackpad for sure. For certain tasks. For little micro movements, sometimes the normal flat pad is fine, but I love my dimple. And we got... Come on, open. All right, so we got our Dell monitors here. So there's a couple of them. There's a 27-inch and a 24-inch, I believe. The 27-inch, so these are IPS panels. So they're pretty decent panels, $139. And Dell makes really, really nice monitor panels. Pretty decent brightness typically. You get the add-in of having integrated speakers if you don't have room for it on your desk and you have a simple setup. But basically, if you're working on your photos for your product descriptions and listings, having sometimes something that's a little more color accurate, or at least is capable of displaying more colors, can be very helpful. So another use case where actually this came into play on the LMA, sorry, I'm losing my voice. So sorry about the pause. So if you're not into gaming, I mean, this isn't super high refresh rate. It's 100 hertz, so it's totally fine. This is more for productivity. So 1500 to 1 isn't great. Well, it's a productivity monitor. And I actually know a couple of people who use this for light photo work. It's got decent colors. So contrast might not be amazing, but at least in terms of being able to differentiate between tones of colors is totally fine. So one thing that we came across on LMA is somebody was doing basically a depth map engrave, but it was very, very difficult to differentiate between the tones of gray to check for depth and to differentiate between layers. So this is potentially going to help with that. You may want more contrast if you're really digging into the high end of that. But if you need a monitor, these are actually pretty fantastic. I've never had a bad time with a Dell monitor. Oh, good God. Let me pull up the other one. So here's the 24-inch. So they're not super fancy, but they're also not super expensive. So it gets you into the door if you need a monitor. Anthony says, let me take a swig of the Schweppes. Yeah, this is Canada Dry. Welcome back, Alex.
Oh, dude. Everything that could have possibly got in my way. I can't even begin to tell you how immensely frustrated I am. And I'm sorry to everybody that came for the show and then I bailed. So I'm here. We're back. We've been listening. Rhiannon's here too. And you've been doing great, man. So thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry to leave you out in the cold like that.
Good job, Kyle.
Yay.
You guys are fine. No worries. Stuff happens sometimes.
Who added these? Did you add these monitors?
I think you and Kyle had some.
Kyle definitely added these. You added
these? I definitely had both the Dell monitors on my list. I'm not sure if you did. But I think there's more in here. I got to refresh the list.
Yeah, I think when we do the edit for this, and this is definitely getting an edit, which we're going to start today, we'll do like a Rhiannon and Alex reacts to like the stuff that we missed, and we'll just kind of throw ourselves into the corner or something to leave some comments on the stuff that you've already gone over. So if you care about our opinions on those things, definitely watch the edit. But from here, I think it's best to just go forward. So we're here for you, man, and we'll just keep going.
The online version is bugging out. I'm gonna have to download the.
Yeah, I did send you the download one. I'll send it to Alex too.
Oh, and now it wants to behave. Okay. You had an Acer monitor on there, which I thought was a pretty snazzy deal. I'm pretty sure you had it. I had it. There we go. So Acer has a 27-inch monitor. It's IPS, which is going to help you with the color reproduction. TN panels, which are typically the cheaper options, which you'd see at this price point or lower even. Those are the ones that have really poor contrast and super, super flat color reproduction. And those are the ones that you're going to have a really hard time differentiating tones of color because they just get smushed. It's kind of like looking through a lens, and anything that's a similar color is just turned the same color, right? So IPS really helps, which this one has. And it's your typical 27-inch monitor. $90 is ridiculously cheap. So
yeah, Acer is like nowhere near the best stuff on the market, but it's just like utilitarian and inexpensive, you know?
Yeah. You're not getting like crazy height tilt adjust with this.
It's just going to sit there and be a monitor.
It's going to sit there and do its thing for you. I don't know if this has, it does have VESA compatibility. So if you wanted to put a nicer stand on it or wall mount it or desk mount it, you could do that, which is nice.
Yeah. I think this monitor in particular would be great for like the rolling cart setup that we have out on the shop floor right now. So totally. I have that cart that I push around from laser to laser, and this is lightweight enough that it's not going to like crush that assembly under the huge amounts of weight like that giant Samsung monitor that I have on there right now. You'll be able to just kind of slap this up there and use it to cart around, and if it gets dusty or sooty or beat up, it doesn't really matter.
Yep. True that. And we are moving on to storage. So these were your picks, I believe.
Oh, did we hit up the Re-X8 mini keyboard already? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, did you get through
I missed it.
Maybe it just had a problem.
There you go.
Yeah. This thing, guys. So I actually have it right here. There we go. Up there. I have this right here, and this thing is super dope. It's got a backlit keyboard, and it's got a little scrolly wheel on it, so you can scroll, and left and right mouse buttons. This trackpad I've bought some. Okay, so this is a thing where like I've tested like many of these because I use them all the time, and there are really crappy ones and really good ones, even from the same brand. Like these are both the rebrand. This one sucks. The keyboard is decent, but the trackpad is terrible. The trackpad on this one is really, really, really good. And so I picked this one as a very, very specific pick. And I was delighted to see that it was on sale for the Prime Day thing. But yeah, the backlit keyboard's super nice. It's 2.4 gigahertz, so you don't have to mess with Bluetooth or whatever. There is a nice little slot here in the back where you can keep the 2.4 gigahertz adapter. It's also got a swappable battery, so if the battery dies, you can replace it, which is awesome. And it charges via USB-C. I mean, this thing is like, actually, I think this one's micro. This one's micro USB, but still, this thing is so useful for being able to do stuff at the laser from like 10 feet away. Which is something I find myself doing more often than I would expect. So even if I just kind of get the mouse over the start button in Lightburn and I'm just using this as a clicker and just clicking start and stop or framing and unframing or whatever, having this on hand is so helpful, and they're super inexpensive. So I would really recommend using this. Gearant's asking, why would I use this as opposed to a wireless keyboard and mouse? Because I have to like carry those things around. You know, they're like big, or I'm balancing a full-size keyboard on like the edge of the Mira or the Ometech, trying to like dodge the doors or whatever. And then the mouse, you need like a surface on like your, workspace to be able to put the mouse down and use it, or you're like fondling it on your leg. There's just like all kinds of weird stuff. The trackpad on this, super easy to use. I'm not recommending you use this full-time as like your office replacement, but when in the workshop, if you're working at multiple different stations and there's something that you need to mark over and over again, I mean, just even if you think of it as like a foot pedal for the laser, just being able to hit mark over and over again, you just run over to the thing, move the part, click the button, go back to what you were doing. These can be super helpful. So I really like these, and I wanted to make sure that I threw it on the list because it was on sale. So that's why that's there.
I like the idea of this. I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, they're super
the
cool.
The arrow keys here correspond with like your normal arrow keys, right?
Yep. And if you don't have a laptop with a full-size USB port, they do make Bluetooth versions as well. I have another one that looks almost identical to this one in my backpack right now that is Bluetooth compatible. So you can get a Bluetooth one if you don't have a full-size USB port for the 2.4 gigahertz dongle.
I gotta say, I like the idea of this kind of in the same vein as I like the wireless keyboard I linked, where it's super cheap.
Yep.
It's like the same price point pretty much.
Yep.
And also, I kind of a pro tip on this. I don't know if anybody in the chat has ever run into this, but one of the things that I helped somebody with on the LMA months ago was they were trying to use, it was like one of those presenter remotes, basically. It basically just an arrow clicker on a little trigger thing. And they were running into a problem where anytime they were running the fiber, it wouldn't work. Well, it occurred to us that it was an IR remote.
Oh.
And when you're using the fiber, it's essentially an IR laser. It's flooding the room with IR. So it was basically like a laser jammer for the remote.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you ever came across like somebody talking about a laser jammer for like a speed trap.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing, but for keyboard control. So I like the fact that you have Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz options on these.
Yeah, I just found the Bluetooth one, by the way. It's here in my hand. So you can see it's almost identical. The only thing it doesn't have is the scroll wheel.
There you go.
So there's no scroll. Oh, well, then we can do it side by side. So the Bluetooth one loses the scroll wheel, but just about everything is the same. The trackpad is of equal quality. I like this. The 2.4 gigahertz one has like individually plasticized buttons, whereas this one has kind of like a rubber membrane over the whole front, which I don't think is going to last as long. But everything else about this one I like better. It also has a 2.4 gigahertz option. So there's the 2.4 gigahertz as well. This is the Mini i8 Plus. So if you want to look that up, guys, you can check that out. It may be on sale. So this is the X8 is 2.4 gigahertz only. The i8 Mini Plus, or the Mini i8 Plus, is the Bluetooth one. And they're both really, really good. I just have a lot of laptops that don't have full-size USB ports, so I have a Bluetooth one. But
we can add the link to the spreadsheet later, too.
Yeah, we can add the link for that one for sure. Hopefully it's on sale. I just bought it. It's not that expensive, even if it's not on sale. Oh, and one final point, the i8 Plus, the Bluetooth one, charges via USB-C. So you don't have to deal with micro USB if you get the one that has Bluetooth compatibility in it too. But yeah, I just have a ton of these laying around because I've been testing them out, and I find them really useful in the shop. So hopefully you guys do too.
Nice.
Yep.
I like that. I'm adding this to the list of crap for me to order at some point.
Nice.
Because that's solid. I like that. Oh, wait. We already had this pulled up. So in terms of storage, nobody ever has enough storage. Let's be honest. I don't really have much else to say beyond that.
I
install SSDs.
This is an Alex ad, and I've got lots of visual aids today, guys. Hold on. So, see if I can find it. So my new thing is instead of walking around with flash drives, I've just been walking around with SSDs. I just keep them in my backpack, and I take them back and forth from the shop with me. And they have virtually all of my data on it. There's almost zero data on my actual desktops anymore. And one of the follow-up items to this one is a dock where you can literally just plug it in via USB, and you pop these in and you can access the data. And I've been just walking around with these. I feel like way more confident that my data is on an SSD. I would never recommend you do this with like a spinning disk drive. They're not meant to be traveled with, but the SSDs are solid state. They're fine. It's not a big deal. I linked the WD Blue one not only because it's one of the only ones I could find that were actually on a Prime Day sale. Virtually 0 SSDs are on sale for some reason. But WD Blue is like a really standard drive too. It's a really standard drive. A terabyte is a lot of space. This is like an 8 terabyte one. These two are 4 terabyte ones. I wanted to recommend the Evos, but I just can't find a sale on them. And this is the big deal.
This is like
Prime Day thing,
a gig, which is ridiculously cheap too.
It's super cheap. It's Western Digital. So if you want to go back to the olden days and sneaker net your data around, which is what I've been doing, the SSDs back and forth between computers are some of the best price per gig that you can get. They're really solid long-term storage solutions, but with the accompaniment of a dock or a SATA, like a SATA to USB cable, it's really convenient data storage too. So that's my input on that.
I just like the idea of installing it in your computer and leaving it there. You could have your own backup drive.
Yeah, it's a terabyte
storage.
Yeah, totally.
Having an on-site backup and then having an off-site backup is always a good idea. So,
yep.
There you go. Moving down the list.
Garant mentioned running a NAS, which you could definitely do. We run a NAS that we use for internal stuff here at the company. Yep. And I don't think for the average user, that's probably the right answer, just because it is kind of involved. I mean, I guess
step up in complexity, especially for somebody who's not really attuned to wanting to deal with that.
Yeah, totally.
I guess that's the best way I could put it.
These aren't the exact docks I have, but a dock's a dock. It's just there to get the SATA connection to USB, and they all work about the same way. So I picked a couple that I thought treaded the line nicely between inexpensive, but didn't seem like buckets of garbage. So
I've had a lot of these in my day working in IT, and I mean a lot of them. I've probably had about 15 different docks in the last 16 years, 17 years.
Yeah.
They're all basically the same internally, at least the ones that I've had.
Sure.
So whether you're buying a $15 to $20 one or you're buying a $100 one, really all you're seeing a difference of is kind of the design in the shell. I've never had one so bad it just didn't work. So getting a reasonable quality one at a decent price like this is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another one.
Yeah, it's just another.
So
I just gave a couple options.
Yeah.
That's all.
Microscope.
So
can't go wrong with that.
The like Juin Sion ones that we've been talking about for years were either not available or were being drowned out by the big deal Prime Day nonsense. I don't ever know what to say for that. It's such a ridiculous name. Why can't we just call it Prime Day?
Big deals.
I didn't see a Prime Day sale for it, and it didn't pop up in like the first 6 pages when I was browsing today. This one looks more solid than some of the other ones that looked kind of thin and rickety. I chose this one on purpose. There are less expensive ones that are also on sale. They all do the same thing. It's kind of the same as like the drive docks. It's all the same stuff being rebranded by multiple different companies. But having a like low power digital microscope like this to be able to see your work, do timings and laser tuning and things like that, it's something we talk about a lot on the channel. And if you don't have one, it's always a good time to pick one up and kind of add it to your workstation, because it's extremely, extremely handy, especially when you're trying to dial your machines in.
Yeah. And what's nice too is you can grab a little micro SD card, throw it in there, and take snapshots. So if you're having trouble deciphering what you're looking at, you can literally take a photo with it, throw it on your computer, and throw it in Discord, throw it in LMA, throw it wherever, and get feedback from other people. They don't have to be standing over your shoulder looking at it.
Yep.
So
And
one
when
of the
providing microscope images is going to get you much better assistance from us than pictures with your phone. So
yeah, if we can see what you're seeing,
mhm.
it's a game changer.
Yep.
So huge on that. And that's another thing that we see a lot, especially on the LMA.
Definitely.
I have this label printer.
Oh, you have that exact one?
Of your list. I have the black version right here.
Nice. Do you like it?
So it's super, super nice. I mean, it's actually, I have a different model, but this is the one this is the upgraded version of mine.
Nice.
So
how do you feel about yours? Do you like yours?
I love it. I've printed a couple hundred labels off of it so far in the last several months. Zero issues with it. You can actually change. So if you've ever had a bad label experience where it just doesn't print dark enough or you're not getting enough fine detail, the drivers that it provides within the software allow you to kind of tune the darkness. So depending on where you get your labels from, so if you buy them from this brand, if you buy them from Uline, if you buy them from whoever else, there's like 100 different brands that sell it on Amazon. There's also different size labels. So you can actually do like the little circle labels. You can make like little happy faces for product stickers and slap them on the outside of the box saying, thanks for supporting my business or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've seen people make stickers with them.
Yeah. The only thing is if you're going to print them ahead of time, because I've run into this, don't leave them where direct sunlight's going to hit them because it will bleach your print. So
thermal paper.
It's thermal paper. Yeah. So direct UV sunlight, not great for it. So if you're going to pre-print stuff, it should be fine, but keep it out of the sun. Other than that, it's been very reliable. I've had no issues. It's just kind of plug it in and go.
When we were adding these to the list, again, we kind of did the more expensive, cheaper version is the next link, but there's a ton of brands of these online.
I thought it was funny at the top, Zebra's advertising to you on Amazon. That's the printer that I have is a Zebra printer, and it's not worth the money. They're like $800. It's ridiculous.
You're talking like almost a whole order of magnitude more expensive.
The only reason I have it is because one of my neighbors was like clearing out her shop and getting rid of like old junk and stuff. And she's like, I have a Mac and this doesn't work on it. Do you want it? And I was like, okay. So I just like got a Zebra label printer thrown at me. And as someone who's seen labels from both, I guarantee you they do nothing different. It is the same exact thing. So this is definitely an area where you can save a lot of money.
Yeah. If it's not already in the list and if there's a good deal on it, I will also link my exact model in here too.
Oh, did you do lenses already?
No. I'm working my way up category by category.
I see. Mike C said pulled the trigger on a 50 by 50, but I'll wait to talk about that until we get up there.
We're almost there. So here's another thermal printer. I think this one off your list, Ree?
That one's just a cheaper version that I found. I don't
so
have
just
any
a cheaper
version.
Yeah.
So if you want to roll the dice and save another $75, $129 is already really cheap for a thermal printer. So I don't know how much cheaper I'd want to go, and I don't know what the differences would be, but some of these prime deals are one thing that I think Rhiannon and I noticed when we were making the list is that a ton of like the
Google Home.
A ton of the stuff that we were looking at, like the name brand stuff, is just not on sale this Prime Day. So reliable brands, companies with good support, their stuff is just not on sale. And I don't really know why. It's super weird. So there is a lot of stuff on here that we're providing to you as an option, knowing that it could very well be junk. And that's kind of the game that you're playing on the Prime Day deal, is that you might save another $75 over the one that Kyle has, but it could be an absolute piece of garbage. I'm not sharing them with you because I think that they're the absolute best necessarily. And this doesn't go for everything on the list. It's just a general thing. but it's because it's a Prime Day deal, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So a little grain of salt, especially on things like this, where the brand name is Polono, you know, and you're like, oh, there it is. It could be garbage. If we have experience with something personally, we're always going to disclose that to you so that you know it's stuff that we've actually used. And this is definitely not one of those things. So I would categorize this, along with quite a few other things on this list, as a dice roll.
Yeah.
Kind of on that point, the next link is a printer. And I have the Epson Ecotank, and this is a Canon kind of version of it. And we put it on there just because the refillable ink cartridges are really nice.
I've never used an Ecotank printer.
No.
Is it just literally a bucket and you just dump ink into it?
Yeah, you get these giant, I don't know.
It's got like a little
bottles of
nozzle
ink.
adapter thing. You stick the nozzle on.
Yeah, you just stick them in, squeeze it out until it's almost empty, and then it's lasted me forever so far.
Nice.
So at least the Epson version I've tried, but again, we put the Canon one on there because those weren't on sale.
Well, at least it's Canon and not Canunanon. You know,
fair.
so it should be decent.
Yeah, but they save you a ton of just, I guess, stress mostly for me, and then time and money because you're not purchasing really
significantly
expensive
cheaper
ink.
to refill.
$200 isn't bad.
Yeah.
It looks like an all-around like decent office
Yeah.
printer too. It's got a
Yeah, there were
flatbed
different
scanner on there and
versions, too.
stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, and the ink I think is a little expensive to buy the full bottle, but again, it lasts forever, and it's just worth it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Label makers.
I'm a label nerd. I have a really nice Brother P-Touch label maker that wasn't on sale, but this one is actually really good too. I've used this one in the past, and label things, guys. I label everything. I literally like print labels and just stick them on stuff, and even if I'm never going to look at it again. Labeling helps keep you organized. It lets you know where all your BS is at a glance, especially for the little like drawers. You know, like the wall-mounted like drawer things I have in the shop. I don't know what those are called. They're like storage bins. Like labeling the front of those helps me find stuff so much faster. And this one, again, inexpensive. Label makers are also thermal printers and thus are very expensive. And this Brother one is not. This is actually a decent Prime Day deal. So $45 for a label maker that takes a standardized like tape roll. Not a bad deal. So if you are someone who likes to keep things organized, or you'd like to become someone who keeps things organized, I think a label maker is an easy choice. You like making labels, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's been very helpful being new to your shop,
Yeah.
being able to find all of Alex's stuff.
And there's even more things that we could label that are not labeled. So we should label those too.
Of course.
Yes.
I like the size of this. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you've ever used one, but back in the 90s, we used to have like the Rolodex style one. Like you turn it to the letter you want, and then you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And then you turn it to the next letter and you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But this is far nicer.
I like this one just because it was kind of like price gun form factor, you know, so you can like carry it around one hand, type with one hand. The one that I have in the shop, the big P-Touch one, is like a keyboard.
Yeah.
You can like type on it. But the handheld one would be much more convenient. So that's why I went with that one. This is not on sale, but it's really, really inexpensive and it's made by Epson. So if you guys don't have one of these and you run anything even remotely close to a job shop, or even if you don't, getting high resolution scans is super key to being able to produce quality work. We scan all kinds of crap. People bring us recipe cards, people bring us signatures, people bring us fingerprints or like paw prints of their animals. I mean, we're scanning stuff all the time, and having the high quality scans from a scanner like this instead of like running it through an office scanner really makes a huge difference when you're doing traces. So if you're tracing those things into vectors, starting with a higher quality scan is massive. Also, instead of getting a screenshot of a screenshot of a screenshot of a photo somebody took once off of Facebook, if they have like an OG photo, and often they do if you ask, being able to be in control of the scanning process means that you can get much, much higher quality images from old photos than you otherwise would. Obviously, this doesn't apply to photos that people took on their
Uh-oh. I think Alex froze. Yeah, being able to control the scanning process is going to give you a much higher quality photo to work with. I actually just recently did a dog paw print that somebody brought to me that they wanted scanned onto something or engraved onto something. And they had the original from where it got cremated. So when your animal gets cremated, sometimes they will, or even at the vet, sometimes they'll offer to take an impression or a paw print for you. And if they did an ink print, you can take that original print, scan it, and just have a much, much better experience working with that.
Sorry, I can't win today with my
You're fine.
computers. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, this is not on sale. I don't care. I threw it on the list because you should own one. $99
$20
is
off.
ludicrous. And Epson makes really, really good scanners. So that's that.
Yeah. And it's super simple too. You have 4 buttons. Can't really go wrong.
Yep.
Lighting. Huge for product photos.
Yeah.
So
We made sure that we selected one that would fit around the standard size Galvo laser lenses if you wanted to use it for bed lighting too. Because a lot of people will mount these up underneath the Galvo scan lens so that it lights your bed really evenly from the same point and perspective that the laser is being projected, which can be super useful. So, we've seen tons and tons of people do that over the last couple of years, and a lot of people still haven't caught on. So if you want to experiment with that, this one should be big enough.
Yeah,
Again,
so.
we picked this one earlier because it was a Prime Day deal. Make sure they're listing the outer diameter here, not the inner diameter, which is what's going to matter to you with your lens. If you can find a 6-inch version that's on sale, then I'd recommend you get that because you'll have a little more breathing room. The 5-inch one should work. It should work. Most f-theta scan lenses are under like 4 inches or right at about 4 inches in diameter. So this should give you enough room, but it's going to be tight, and a 6-inch one might be a little more comfortable. So that's my grain of salt for this one. But I did specifically, yes, of course, if you light your photos and videos that you're taking for advertising, they're going to look substantially better. But I did specifically pick this light because it could be a great option if you're trying to get some bed lighting going on with a Galvo laser. So,
yep, and controllable brightness too,
Yep.
because it's got the little remote in line with it. It just basically bumps the voltage up and down. Yeah.
Yep.
Product photos again.
The light box. Did you add this one, Kyle?
I did not.
did.
Oh, you added it, Rhiannon? That's
yeah.
nice.
I mean, I don't have one of these. If you want to go real cheap, what I do for my lanterns is just use like 2 pieces of what is it? Not cards. Is it cardstock? The big ones you get from like a dollar store.
Like
yeah,
project board.
Yep, I've used like 2 of those. Put one on the bottom and then one be the product, and just done that too. But this is nice if for all sides and.
Nice. I do like how the lights on these.
Mm-hmm.
Does it include the lights?
I don't know.
For that price, it should. Yeah, 480 LEDs.
Yeah.
I like that they're using an LED array because the last one of these that I bought was it had like ring lights instead.
Yeah.
And they're small ring lights, and they only had like 4 LEDs on each one, and it was really difficult to diffuse that lighting. So it
Right.
gave like really harsh glares, and this one seems like it kind of deals with that a little bit by adding an array of lights instead of just having
Right.
one. So
yeah, and there are bigger sizes too and smaller ones, so you
Yeah.
know, price ranges.
you gotta have
Just
nice photos.
Yeah.
Just going back to the last one we were on. So Garrett and Andrew both have the same question of how we would mount that to a galvo head. So you have a couple of options here. There's an adjustable clip you can clip onto your tower plate if you really wanted to. Another option is you can typically on the bottom of some full-size machines, split style systems, there's actually a rail, like a T-slot underneath the bottom side. And you can actually put a T-slot mount inside that rail by removing the plate, sliding it in, putting it back in, or they have spring-loaded ones you can slot in after. And you can actually just take like an M5 screw and zip it in. You can make a mounting plate for it, or you can just put a piece of metal in there, screw it in, clip it to it. You have a lot of options. It's
You
pretty
could do what I would do and just duct tape it. I'm not
Perfect.
joking. That's exactly what I would do.
You got options. The sky's the limit. It depends on how hodgepodge together you want it to be.
Yeah.
Or how permanent you want it to be.
Mm,
I guess would be a good way of putting it.
indeed.
Open sesame.
Hey, you guys are looking at this camera right now. Hi.
Yo.
Oh wait, here.
There you go. This is the Nexigo webcam. I think this one's a couple models newer. I've had this one forever. Not a bad webcam. It's not a super good webcam, but it's not a bad webcam. And the reason that we usually recommend webcams is for viewing your laser, right? If you don't want to sit and stare at your laser all day, even through laser safety glasses, which you should all be wearing, a webcam is a great way to view your laser bed while it's running. Also, if you ever plan on going out to shows or events or doing this live in front of other people, exposing people to laser radiation, especially without their consent, is just a grody thing to do and not kosher. So the best way to deal with that is to physically wall off the laser while it's working, point a webcam at it, have the webcam run out to a laptop connected to a monitor or something that you leave on your front table so that people can watch it while it's working. It's super duper easy way to handle that situation without being a jerk off and blinding people without their consent. The reason we picked this one, the Nexigo, and the reason my shop is full of Nexigos is because lasers can, in very rare circumstances, and I've been pointing multi-$1,000 cameras at lasers for my entire career, and I've never destroyed one, but the rogue laser radiation beam can, in theory, damage pixel sensors on cameras. So I like to point cheap cameras at my lasers when possible, when I'm not recording content. That way, the likelihood that I destroy one is higher that it's a cheap one. So Nexigo's been great. We've been using them since we first started the channel, and they just keep coming out with new ones. They don't seem that much different than the ones that I was buying 3 years ago, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's $30.
I'm pretty confident it's just shell changes, to be honest.
It's just shell change. Just buy one and then solve your problems with it, because that's what it's good for.
When I got my version of this, it was $45.
Yeah, nice.
Years ago.
It's
So
even cheaper now.
$34 is not bad.
Yep.
Totally doable and super cheap. And if you break it with the laser, at least it wasn't $1,000.
And easy.
Yes. We are moving on to we're out of tech. We're moving up. Johnson Plastics Plus saddle.
No. Yeah. Okay. So I'm really glad that we are here for this one. I was a little nervous that we wouldn't be here for this one. The reason I added this is because I could not find Sale, no sale, whatever. I could not find a single Amazon seller of Leatherette that would explicitly tell me their Leatherette was PU, polyurethane, for the uninitiated.
And if you didn't know, it could be vinyl.
It could be vinyl, and you literally would have no way to tell because the manufacturer, all they put on every single listing, everyone I looked at, ran and watched me look for like 45 minutes today. Every single one just says faux leather, which means nothing to me from a material standpoint, as far as material science is concerned. So I think this is a great item to buy from our sponsor, Johnson Plastics Plus, because I have to mention them today because they're sponsoring this stream, but also because I can't find a single trustworthy source for a material that could potentially poison me on Amazon. And this seemed like a great way to integrate them into today's stream. So you've seen me use this material, guys. We have a brand new episode on the channel, brand new as far as laser everything timelines are concerned, where I literally test this stuff on like every single laser in the shop. And it's really, really good. It's super consistent. It is inexpensive. It comes in a bunch of different colors. And so if you are looking to do any kind of leatherette work, this is the way to go. If you insist on shopping on Amazon for leatherette, please try to do any amount of due diligence to make sure that it is polyurethane leatherette. That is the only laser safe leatherette. There are no other options. Everything else is going. What is it from vinyl? Is that cyanide? Hydrogen cyanide?
Yeah, hydrogen cyanide.
Hydrogen cyanide, guys.
It's the same content that gets off-gassed when you mark PVC.
Not good for you at all. So please just, first things first, safety first, as Blippi says, and just pay attention to what you're buying and marking. Because
chlorine gas too. Sorry.
And chlorine, oh god, the chlorine will just eat your machines alive.
If you didn't know, chlorine gas is not good for you.
Or
just
your
Google
equipment.
Google it. It has a history in the world of not being good for people.
Yeah.
It's literally fatal.
Yeah, not good. So
yeah,
that's it. Thanks, JP Plus, for supplying real laser safe leatherette.
Yeah. Moving into blanks and engravable materials. The category.
Oh, nice. Hey, toothbrushes. These are always a double win because you can engrave these because they're bamboo. So if you want to engrave a bunch of toothbrushes with names, you can do that. But also, these have really soft bristles, which are great to pair with the 3-in-1 oil and like metals. So if you're brushing off the debris from like brass plaques or plates, these do a really good job along with the oil to lubricate that debris and remove it without putting huge scratches in the substrate. So I like these twofold. They are very useful. We have quite a few of them here. Hey, magnet bags.
Yeah.
Matt
was just talking about these the other night.
Also super duper inexpensive. 60 for $20 is a no-brainer. And these are really great for making magnets or name tags, specific or magnets, I guess, out of any substrate that you want, because they're adhesive on one side and then magnetic. There's a magnetic pairing and you just pull them apart, put them together. I've used these with wood, acrylic, Romark, blackboard material, whiteboard material, you name it. This is a really, really handy little piece of hardware for that. And this is something that I have multiple boxes of in my shop at any given time in case large orders come in. They can come and go in and out of stock. And so I've kind of like safety palletized myself these so that I always have a net if I do end up getting a bigger order for this kind of stuff, because this isn't usually onesie twosie stuff. This is usually big order stuff.
You're
so
doing
I think
like a whole office or
dude, I have like 100 of these in the shop at any time, just in case something like that comes through, and we've got them. They're inexpensive enough that you can afford to do that, and they last forever because they're magnets, so you can, you know, have them and keep them, and they're not going to degrade in storage. So big fan of these.
Yeah.
Did we mention that we had a lot of items?
We have a lot of items.
We have a lot of
We worked
items
on this all morning.
We
All
did.
the things.
Some yesterday.
Arctic can coolers, man.
Yeah, Arctic's not having a site-wide sale or anything, and most of their stuff on their web store on Amazon is not on sale. But I thought these were really good price, and they come in some interesting colors that you're not seeing on the Stanley stuff and the Yeti stuff right now. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, they do have can coolers. If it's just to experiment, or if you want to pick up a few of them and keep them in stock, $13 is a nice middle ground price. It's not as cheap as the bulk sellers like Johnson Plastics Plus or JDS, but it's not retail Yeti price either. It's like a nice medium, and you can still put a fairly good markup on these and make some money. So if you're looking for something a little bit different with some different color options, these could be a good choice for you for the holiday season.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I made so many
Alex
jokes
got
to
some
read.
balls on this one.
Dude, I made so many jokes to Rhiannon this morning. I kept typing in black glass ornaments. You can see it right there, or blank glass ornaments. It's right up in the search bar, tied into the URL. And Amazon was like, would you like acrylic? I was like, no, I want glass. I couldn't find any flat glass ornaments, period. I found a bunch of these in acrylic and glass. These were the only glass ones that I could find on sale. Obviously, there's a bit of a risk getting glass shipped to you and then shipping them out. But if you're feeling ballsy, no pun intended, I think, especially for you UV laser owners out there, I think you could do some pretty rad stuff on one of these if you get it just right. It's going to be a major challenge because it is a sphere, which is like the arch villain of the UV laser universe, the arch nemesis, if you will. But man, they would be cool if you could figure it out. They're cheap enough that you could blow $20 on a pack of them just to see if you could do something interesting. They're also fillable, which I thought would be a cool combination with the UV laser, since you are going to get that white marking with the UV. Being able to backfill it with something that'll give it some contrast and pop, like I don't know, like
I've seen them put like fake snow in those,
like
too.
fake snow, or like
Yeah,
I was thinking like
pretty.
the like gift tissue.
Oh yeah,
You know, like
Tissue
colorful gift tissue paper would be cool. Something
to
along
give it a
those
little
lines.
backing for an engrave.
Yeah, could be a neat project. Again, I haven't tried this, and it's almost guaranteed to be a giant pain in the butt until you get a technique down. But $20 with the holidays coming up, I figured somebody out there is going to see this and they're going to want to make an attempt to do something creative with them. So I decided to throw them on the list for that reason.
I believe it was on the LMA. Somebody actually used, I don't know if it was these exactly, but the idea is there. Last year or the year before, it was tempera paint on glass, and then they marked it with the fiber.
Nice.
So they did it just project mark style, and they were doing names with like snowflakes around them, kind of thing.
Yep.
And then you just take a little bit of water, because tempera paint is water soluble. You just rinse it off, and the paint that gets marked is like perma marked into the surface of the glass. The rest just washes off, kind of like Brilliance would.
Yeah.
But it's not Brilliance. You just got to be careful to do it really lightly, because the heat on like thin glass will make it pop. It'll crack it
For sure.
So you don't want to go crazy. It's super light mark. Got to go gentle, but mark comes out beautiful. So you got some options there. If you don't have a UV, if you got a project mark, anything, Galvo fiber, Galvo CO2.
Yeah, resin's
Galvo
tossing
diode
in.
even. I bet you might be able to get something to work on this.
Resin's tossing it, and you might be able to do something cool by filling it with like alcohol ink, which might be really interesting. My only challenge with that would be like making sure that the top was sealed after filling, which could be difficult. It's not something you want to have explode in shipping either, but it's a good idea. I think
Gotta
it would
dry.
look really pretty if you could, make sure you package that right. You should be in good
Vince
shape.
also had a comment about it. There being glass ones.
Oh,
on-
JDS and JP
Yep.
Plus both have flat glass ornaments. Word, go check them out.
Yeah.
Thanks for sponsoring the live stream, Johnson Plastics Plus. Link in the description.
Speaking
code-
of which,
YLRZDF, 15% off. Sorry.
yeah, you're good. Speaking of which, I actually got a bunch in from Johnson Plastics. I will be doing an episode on marking.
Yeah, me
flat
too, dude. I got a huge box out
They
there. I'm pretty
are-
sure it's filled with those fancy like tumblers that Matt was showing off the other day.
glass. They look so good, dude. Marked. They're so good.
Oh crap, dude. No, resin says the alcohol will dry out and the color sticks to the
Oh.
inside.
Yep.
What? I totally
Yeah, when
did
it
not
dries,
understand that.
it's think
Do
of
you
it
have a-
like
Do you have a
like
video
staining.
on that resin? Do a video on that.
Yeah. It's kind of like staining.
Cool.
Dog bone acrylic ornaments.
Yeah, I thought these were cute. And you can
Yeah.
do them on pretty much any laser. I think the only one that's really going to give you trouble is the diode. The fiber, obviously. Fiber and diode. So CO2, UV for this one should be fine. But yeah, the clear, like kind of glass look, I really like that for the holidays. I really like those kind of ornaments on
Be
the
really
tree.
pretty.
So I am looking for stuff like that all the time. One of the other things that I spent a long time looking for that I could not find today, and there are a few websites and they always sell out super early. I need to do an episode on it or link it somewhere or something. Are the brass ornaments, blank brass ornaments. I'm talking about the polished ones. I'm not talking about stamping blanks. I'm talking about real thin, they're like 2 millimeters thick brass ornaments. And they make them in a bunch of different shapes. And I really, really like them because I used to have those when I was a kid. You know what I'm talking about? Like those
Yeah.
vintage brass ornaments.
Yeah,
Man, they're so
they
hard
were
to find.
kinda like antiqued almost.
Everything in the world right now is like for sublimation. So it's all got that white sublimation bullshit on it, or it's like crappy plastic. And I just want like some really nice brass ornament blanks that I can engrave. And they're very difficult to find. But more on that later. I'll try to do an episode about it before the holidays. It's just more.
Clear round acrylic.
Yep, clear round acrylic.
So
Same thing.
more of the same, different shape. These are great, especially for people who don't have the ability to cut stuff on their own too.
Yep.
Um,
Did you cover the gloves yet?
no, not yet.
Okay.
Where were they?
I don't know. Somewhere. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Alright. I'm
They're in
working
the
up
next
from the
section.
bottom category by category.
Oh, these I thought like easy enough to put a hole in one of these. Boom, ornament done.
You did some of these on live stream like
Yeah.
forever ago, back in the old shop.
Yeah, I think you can actually find some of these with holes already in them too.
Yeah, but they weren't on Prime Day. It
of
wasn't a Prime
course.
Day sale. I mean, 2 seconds under
Yeah.
the
Or they
CO2
could be
laser.
coasters.
Yeah, or they could be coasters. They could be holiday. These would make cute holiday themed
Yeah.
coasters too.
They're cute.
Yeah.
And they're cheap. They're $15. It's like less than $1 a piece. So I was like, I'm about
sometimes
it.
they're called wood cookies too. So if you ever have
Wood
somebody come by and
cookies.
they're
I like
asking
that.
for wood cookies,
I've never
This
heard
is
of a
what they're
wood
talking
cookie,
about.
dude. That's
Huh?
brand new. This is the first time I've ever heard wood cookies.
really?
Yeah.
Same.
Last year I had like 3 people ask me if I had wood cookies, and I'm like, what? This is what they mean though. It's
That's what she
adorable.
said.
a wood cookie. Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not something you'd want to eat, but that's what they mean.
Yeah,
So
cool.
It's kind of cute.
you heard it here first. That's what a wood cookie is.
Oh my God, you could do wood cookies for Santa.
Oh, actually, that's
There you
smart.
go.
You guys can have that.
Coins.
Brass coins, queens. These aren't great for final products, guys, but they're really, really good for testing. They often
I
come
actually, these are pretty decent. Actually,
with, are these ones?
that's what I can't, make me big. Hold on.
Make me beg.
Oh God, it's so blown out.
Dear Jesus.
The reflection is real.
It looks
So that's
okay.
what I
Am I
made.
seeing...
All
Dad.
like most of the brass coins that I did on the channel, including
Yep.
the pumpkin coin.
Yeah.
Those are all done on these.
Cool.
So
Sick.
they're not bad.
Yeah, they're not bad. I like Swiss buoy stuff, but I also
those are
I
nice
like
for sure.
I have really expensive tastes when it comes to coins, and when I get coins in, like any amount of like scuffing or scratching is just completely unacceptable to me. Even if it's in an area where I'm going to engrave over it, when I see coins that have scratches and scuffs on them, I'm just like, I'm out. Like, I'm not impressed. But I like these. Kyle's done beautiful work, so obviously I'm wrong and Kyle is right. But I like these for honing in my skills on centering coins. It's something that takes a lot of practice to get right on the first try every time, and these are particularly good for honing those skills. And it's just, you got to just destroy a certain number of them before you get it down, before you know exactly where that laser is going to fall based on where your red dot is, getting all that stuff lined up, getting the muscle memory and the visual memory in order to strike that over and over again. It can be really difficult. Even if you're jigging it up, the first one still has to be good. And these can be really, really excellent for that because they're much cheaper than the custom ones that arrive perfect from the manufacturers. A lot of these can show up well, fairly decent condition. But I've had like scuffs and scratches on these that I've found unacceptable in the past. So I buy them with that in mind. But again, Kyle is right and I'm wrong because Kyle has manufactured beautiful products with these that I've really liked. So the scratches obviously didn't have any sway on my opinion of those things. And so
I think there's two
salt.
different listing options too, because these ones have the case on them.
Yep.
There is a listing for no case. So that could be why you ended up with one with scratches.
Yeah.
Or with scratches. But yeah. There are sometimes like weird surface blemishes, but usually they get engraved off with me anyway, especially if I'm doing a depth map.
Right.
If you're doing post-processing with like a tumbler, like Alex has the tumbler, then it'll get polished off anyway, usually.
Yep.
But. Hey.
Heyo.
Speaking of holidays,
you added these.
Yeah, I saw some on Amazon that was like a giant pack, not on sale, and I was like, that's kind of a good idea.
I hate these.
No.
I hate them. But they are so ridiculously popular. I would never drink out of one of these. Am I the only one that feels that way?
I don't drink out of them either.
No,
they're
but
more like you can make them fancy and
no,
cool.
sure, yeah. I mean, you
cool
can mark them well enough,
Yeah.
and these look like painted ones, so you're gonna get like a decent mark, and it's gonna resolve images nicely. They just kind of gross me out. Like, how do you clean them? Why do people buy these? I don't know. But yeah, as far as an engraving substrate goes, knock yourself out on these. People love them, especially as wedding gifts. It's just like a thing that I don't understand at all. So,
yeah.
A lot of this stuff you guys have listened to us talk about like time and time again, and the list is so long, so I don't want to spend too long on any individual thing that we've talked about a lot.
Buying guide too, so
those are cool.
Yeah.
Did you add those too?
I did. Yep.
Yeah, those are cute.
Cool little keychain.
I didn't see those at all.
Nope.
They like real wood.
I think.
What is the?
They look like walnut, maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them.
These are great for luggage tags. They're great for like really premium gifts. If you want to use them as like a Christmas tag, stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Resin says, I have a flask.
Less than $1 a piece.
Resin says, I have a flask. Used it a couple times, then thought the same. How do I clean it? Like, what do you do with it? I think you're only supposed to put like hard liquor in it, and then you just don't clean it because
it's a hard liquor thing.
Yeah.
Gross. Anyway, onwards. She's getting big.
Yes, she is.
So this brand actually caught my eye, and there are a few links in this list from them. The Adratane. It's one of those weird like warning light brands, guys, and That said, they have a ton of shit. If you click their store, Kyle, these are like some basic opaque acrylic sheets. They have a ton of stuff, dude. Like a ton of stuff. Just all kinds of different acrylics, multi-packs of like blanks that you can buy that come with like a little bit of everything. They have actual like blank final products. There's a lot of different stuff on the store here, and I thought it was super interesting. So there are a few links while I was browsing around. I grabbed a couple things I thought were particularly interesting, but I would encourage you guys to go check out the store, because if these materials are any good, they are a pretty solid deal, and you can get them very quickly from Amazon. They had 2-day on most of the stuff that they sold in the store here, 2-day prime shipping, at least where I am. So I think it's worth looking at. You'll see more of it as we click through the list, Kyle.
Have them on the list, like at least
their storefront is
times.
actually not behaving very well, which is classic. But we do have more on the list.
Yeah, a lot of links might just be broken too because of the event going on. So,
yep. I was like, cheap walnut, dude. Walnut's expensive. If this is real walnut, it's cheap. 12 by 12 inch. I would use this for so much stuff. For $20, I'm about it. A 6-pack of those.
yeah,
Nice.
that's not bad.
Yeah. 6 square feet of walnut.
Especially if you don't need a ton of it, you just need a couple of pieces to get you through a project or just to keep on hand for something specific. That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
More different walnut.
Way more expensive, but I think this was thicker too.
This is
and it's also
as much.
12-pack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So just more walnut if you want to get some walnut.
walnut.
Walnut's really nice. It's a really dark wood, but it also engraves really, really dark with very little effort, and you still end up with great contrast on walnut. I think a lot of people kind of steer clear of walnut because they think they're going to get poor contrast with the darkness of the wood, but walnut engraves like black, like ink black. I mean, it's really, really a strong wood for engraving. So if you guys haven't played with walnut, I would encourage you to do so.
It's fantastic for projects. I actually used like an 8mm thick walnut for the Slate coaster box I did for the Christmas project last year.
Yeah.
And if you want to see how it looks when it's engraved, go look at the edge cuts for when it was assembled. You can get an idea of what that looks like engraved.
Basswood. Yeah, this is like the everything wood. It's not
That's
good.
What I use.
Yeah, Rhiannon uses it in all of her overpriced Etsy products.
Overpriced.
Hey.
I put a lot of work in
Hey, Basswood is fine. It is certainly, I would say it's a cutting wood rather than like a marking wood.
Yeah.
It's super soft. So it cuts really well, but you experience a ton of burnout when you're trying to mark this. So it's harder to get fine details on Basswood, and it's pretty low contrast too. So not only is it burning out from the focal point into surrounding wood fibers, but it's just
a really soft wood.
It's just a really soft
easily.
Wood. Yeah. So
has a hard time with fine detail.
Maybe not so much for marking, but if you're looking for like the picture here suggests like making little models or stands or anything kind of like structurally, and you don't want to spend a ton of money, Basswood can be a great option for you.
Yeah, I use it for my lanterns, and I do actually stain the wood, and I use wood conditioner.
It looks so much better when it's stained. Do you have one? Is there one
in there? Yeah. You want me to get it?
If
I can grab it.
If you're not going to disturb Chris.
It'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, just grab it really quick. I want to show you guys how good this looks when it's stained, because raw basswood is really hideous, at least in my opinion. But the stained stuff that Rhiannon does for her Etsy shop looks really nice.
Yeah. One of the benefits to it being really soft, if it's not super dried out, they're really great for those 3D puzzle cutouts too,
bro.
Because it's lightweight, and they flex.
Check that out.
They're not super dry. Oh, let me make you big.
Yeah, make me big.
That one's ebony,
made you big.
and the other one's dark walnut. but I use wood conditioner first because it's a softwood, and I read that that's good to do.
Definitely. When it dries out,
Yeah.
it makes it really easy to crack or break, basically.
Yeah. I
if
also
you
put like
manipulate it.
a clear finish on top of it too, so that does make it
Kinda
look
seal it
nicer, I
in.
think.
Give it a little shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can make the basswood look good.
Yeah.
It's not impossible,
Right.
but it is ugly out of the box.
It's cheap. That's why I like it.
Resin says those are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Rhiannon's Etsy shop is Who Knows
Anything.
Anything Goes. If you want to check it out for some inspo,
Ayo.
and or share it with a friend. Help Rhiannon get some sales.
Thanks.
I got you.
Coasters. Meow, 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 meow.
Oh, those are nice.
Meow.
Who added these?
I did.
Oh, those are good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
like that it had both circle.
I
and
like
square.
that they're not bamboo.
Oh, I don't remember what they were.
They're not bamboo. They look like maple, but
Yeah.
they're really nice. They have pretty manageable grain patterns on them. What was the price for 36 pieces?
$22.50.
It's not bad.
I just like that they had the variation of the square and circle.
Yeah. I'm just glad they're not bamboo. Everything's freaking bamboo. Not
They
the bamboo
are fine.
horrible. Bamboo looks nice on the diode laser. Pine actually does really well on diodes too, but you're better off with pine on a CO2 than you are with bamboo. So still an upgrade. But I'd probably recommend a diode for these for the best consistency, because pine can be a little frustrating as far as getting contrast goes.
Cutting boards.
Cutting boards. Yeah, I added these. I just thought they were really nice looking, and I like the kind of like panels are glued together. So I feel like it frames it up really nicely in that top section for like a name and a date or something. I see this as something that, like, if it was sitting on the wall in our showroom, this would be something people would request. So it might be nice to make some samples out of. It basically gives you lines, right, where you would be writing and sectioning text. And for that reason, I think it would be a strong display piece, if nothing else, just to get people's minds working. But I did like these, and they're fairly inexpensive for being hardwood. So
Absolutely.
Yep. A few different sizes available. $15.
Kyle, I think you skipped a couple other coasters too, but
Did I?
they're just coasters.
Oh, I did.
Just
all
different
the other
material.
people on there screw me up. I think go back a couple. Cork coasters. I love these. These are one of my favorite things to mark on the CO2 Galvo. Can't go wrong with them. They mark really well. You get decent contrast. Not recommended for fiber. Works great on diode. Works great on CO2 Galvo. So I used basically these when I did the rotary repeat marking video. So those I did a project for a local groomer, dog groomer, where they wanted to do like a dog mark, and then on the flip side they wanted to do like their business information. So for customers coming in, they'd either have sets if they wanted like different dogs, or like a set of the same type of dog. I could do those. Or they had the option of just doing like handing them out as like business card or alternatives because they're cheap. So just something different and unique, and yeah, these work great as doing like gift sets too for the holidays. Not much else to say.
Yeah, they're coasters.
Yeah, they're coasters. They look good. They go on a table.
Do you know if like the porous material of a coaster, I don't know, like if you have a drink that's condensating, is it bad for that, or is it good to have?
Nope.
Texture?
So the way Cork works, it kind of has like a capacity for water, and then it stops absorbing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really fall apart. You would have to like
Okay.
picket it, or like try and break it, or fold it in half to make it snap. But the nice thing about Cork is with all of the surface that it has, it also evaporates that moisture back out when they're not in use.
Nice. Yeah, I was always worried about that with those.
Yeah, that's actually why they use them for like wine bottle stoppers. They're basically naturally mold resistant, and they self-regulate their moisture content.
Nice. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And they're renewable. So if you didn't know, Cork is like basically infinitely renewable as long as they don't destroy the trees while they're harvesting it, because it's essentially just the bark of the tree that they're peeling off, and then it regrows it. So if you didn't know, now you know. Slate coasters, the other option for your coaster needs. Also one of my favorite materials for fiber. 48 pieces for $37 is a pretty dang solid deal. The going rate for like non-sales is like typically about $1 a piece per coaster, whether it's round or square, it doesn't really matter. So the nice thing about this is you get a 50-50 split. So if you don't know what you want, you get both.
Nice. I also will shout out Johnson Plastics Plus here, because they sent over a really nice slate kit for me to test out. I have a bunch of video footage yet. I haven't published that episode, but I have it.
Are you using your wireless mic?
Oh, I don't know what I'm...
Yeah, I think
I muted myself. Sorry. I'm also going to shout out Johnson Plastics Plus here, because they have sent over a ton of really nice slate kit stuff. And we've tested slate on every single laser with the slate from them. If you want to check out their stuff, again, there's a 15% off code that's always active down in the description. But slate works well on every laser. Every single laser in the shop does great with slate. It's black. It absorbs all laser wavelengths. So no matter what you have, slate's always going to be a slam dunk.
There you go.
And now back to cutting boards.
It's a more different cutting board.
Yeah, it's Acacia. Acacia's one of my favorite woods. I really like Acacia.
I did Acacia on a live stream under the UV, 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And it engraves beautifully. I mean, wood in general engraves beautifully on a UV, but Acacia in general, CO2, UV, diode, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're a little more expensive because it's butcher block, but it is a huge step up in quality when everybody else in the world is using bamboo. When you move to something like Acacia, you're going to see that difference, not only in the quality of the wood, but in the quality of the final mark, especially if you're trying to resolve small details. Acacia handles that really well.
Yep. I also really like the fact that this already has a juice groove in it as well.
Yep. And I specifically picked one that didn't have like a giant logo on the front. So many of these have like logos burned or stamped in, and this one is nice and clean. So it's a lot of room for you to kind of put your own personality into it instead of, dodging existing logos and things like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Your browser's starting to look like my grandma's.
We got another more different wood cutting board. This one's maple.
This is maple. Less expensive than Acacia, also lower contrast, so it doesn't look quite as nice, but it costs a lot less. So it's just another option for you guys.
Though I think this one actually costs more.
Does it really? Well, I think
maple
this
is usually way more than Acacia.
Oh, really?
Opposite.
Yeah.
But they're also slightly different sizes.
This one's also thicker. He's got that thick boy.
1.5 inches.
Yep.
Was that like 35 millimeters or something?
Mm-hmm.
It's a thickum.
It's a thickum.
And Alex's favorite, bamboo.
And my favorite, bamboo. Guys, you can do nice stuff on bamboo. All you need is a diode laser. I know that diode lasers are like the butt of the joke of the laser world, but they have their uses, man. And one of those is bamboo. If you've ever noticed that your engravings are uneven on bamboo, it goes from dark to light to dark to light, or it's, super deep and then super shallow, and you're using a CO2 or any other kind of laser, hey, guess what? You need a diode, and diodes are super inexpensive. We'll talk about a couple options that you have later in the stream, but diode lasers are the answer to bamboo. Bamboo is extremely inexpensive, and it looks great when it's done with the right tool. So don't write off diode lasers, and don't write off bamboo. Paired together, they actually work really, really well.
Yeah, I have to agree. CO2 in bamboo is like mediocre typically.
Yep.
The UV though, because it does everything.
Nice.
It will do beautiful photo work even on bamboo, which is wild.
I didn't even I don't think I've ever tried bamboo on a UV.
It works great.
Nice.
I did some really nice, I don't remember if I did it on live stream or not, but I did some really nice Christmas themed like cookie tray bamboo cutting boards last year or the year before. Both.
Cool.
I'll have to see if I can find those, or maybe I'll just do some fresh ones this year.
Hey, tins. I added these because they're really popular with people that walk in not knowing what they want, and they cost virtually nothing. So they're a really easy sell. So if you're running a job shop, this could be a great option for you. I also even more so like the hinged rectangle ones, but I couldn't find any on sale today, so I left them out.
Like the Altoid style deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Altoids, like this style right here. So this is just one. I just have some USB adapters in it, but they make these with a black paint or black anodizing, depending on who you buy them from, and they're excellent. I recommend getting some. They're not on sale, so they're not on the list. But these and the round tins were both super popular. I actually got a couple bigger contracts in my heyday when we were doing shop stuff every day, because we had some God, I'm getting old. Doing like beauty stuff, like beauty products. What do you call that?
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics.
There you
And, like some cosmetics guys were looking for something like sustainable and inexpensive. And I was like, hey, guess what? I have a bunch of these, and they loved them, and they got a ton of them. So these are really great. They make them in steel too, which you can do some really nice anneal work on. So take a look around if you haven't considered these in the past, because they're a solid option and they're low cost.
Heck yeah.
They're also in the buying guide.
There.
The rectangle ones.
Indeed.
Stuff.
Yeah. This was another brand like that other one that I had mentioned earlier, where they just like have a buttload of stuff. They're way, way cheaper than the multi-packs that like Xtool will sell you. Right. So don't buy those sample kits from those companies, because they literally give you like 3 things and it's like $96. This is all the same garbage from the same manufacturers, but in a far less expensive kit available from Amazon. So if you're looking for some testing,
perfect for somebody just getting started with
if you're just getting
new
started.
laser.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's another one of these on the list too from that brand we were looking at earlier as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to it.
Hey, it's the other brand.
There it is. Yeah, dude, $50. I mean, you just get a mountain of shit for $50. So you can't really go wrong. I mean, it's just all of these things individually from like Walmart would be far more expensive. So grab yourself a little test kit, especially if you're new, and just go nuts. That's how we get our best settings, is just experimenting and failing over and over and over and over and over again. And
this is also a great way to kind of compare marking organics with inorganics and metals with the laser.
Yeah,
certainly. It's like a very upfront way of seeing why you, for example, can't really do metal with the CO2, but you can do wood and you can do acrylic.
Yeah.
Or why transparent acrylic isn't awesome on a diode.
Yeah.
But you can do opaque black. Or
just I'm only just seeing them now, but I will just say be careful with that leatherette, because I don't know what that leatherette is, and I didn't check the listing to see if they listed the material. Though I'm sure with this many things included in the bundle, they don't. So just, you know,
It
proceed
does
with
say
caution.
PVC in the material list, so maybe don't do it.
Maybe don't mark those. Throw those away. I think the rest of the package is still worth it. Just don't mark the leatherette.
Yeah. And we're now into other laser items.
Wow.
Woo.
We still have a bit more. How you guys feeling?
I cannot believe we have this many items. I feel like this is way more than I thought we did, but
I don't know. We got a lot in.
yeah.
This
So,
is kind of miscellaneous a little bit.
I'm a lightning round a couple of these.
You're a Levoit guy.
I am a Levoit guy. I actually have my 200S right there.
It's also on this list.
Yeah. So this is a more different style than the one I have.
This is the big boy.
$159. This is the big boy one. So this is if you have an enormous warehouse and you want to, you know, if you have air movement through there and it's dusty, this is your guy. These are personal air, like this is what you're breathing kind of air purifier. This isn't something you're going to be pumping your laser into because it's just not designed for that. No, this is just for removing particulate in your breathing air.
From the ambient air.
Yes.
That's like just in the room. You still need an exhaust. This is not a replacement for an exhaust. This is not a fume extractor. This is just to remove the leftovers from the air that you're breathing so that you're not solely giving yourself cancer. Just to give you guys an idea, and this is way overkill, but I have 3 of this one throughout the entire studio and office here. And granted, I probably have a lot more space than most of you guys. But there's 1,000 square feet out there, and then this half of like the office spaces and stuff, there's probably another 1,000 square feet. We're extra cautious because I have my kids here all the time. So I've got one that scrubs in the corner over by the lasers. Then on the other side of the wall in the office space, I've got one that scrubs out on our showroom floor where we're going to have customers being in and out constantly. And then I have one that scrubs in kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen it on the video, but move my head out of the way. You can see like my kids' floor and stuff, and Chris out there. So yeah, that's like my kids' playroom, and I really don't want them breathing in a bunch of garbage when we're engraving stuff. So I use 3 of those for 1,500-ish square feet. This says one is rated up to 1,800 square feet. I doubt that is the case with all of the walls and things between the different units, and these are really designed to be in a home or like a large office space, not necessarily a like
dirty shop
or like manufacturing environment. So I think more is better. That said, you don't need that many, and you don't need to have them be this big. You could get the 200 that Kyle has, which is the next item on the list, I believe.
Yeah. The nice thing about these too, if you get the smart ones, you'll notice it says air quality monitor. It will tell you when it's time to change it based off of the fact that it's sensing that the air quality isn't improving as it flows through it, or it's just horrible air quality as it filters through. Yep. Or it can indicate that there's like a rip or something where it's not filtering. It's just letting the air go through. But these are fantastic. It is reliant on airflow through your shop. So if you have all your doors closed, like if Alex closed all of his doors and he had it in the room he's in, the room he's in is going to be great, but the shop ain't getting filtered. Right. So keep that in mind. If everything is segmented off, kind of going the route of having multiple spread out is a great way to handle that. And
Miranda also mentions in chat, smaller rooms but a bigger machine means more air changes per hour, which is a great point. So you're getting repeated exposure to that same air over and over and over again when you're using a higher rated machine in a smaller space, which is another reason why we have multiple units.
Yep. We'll move into the next one. So this is actually it's the bigger machine. This is the Core 300, but the price has come down.
Yep.
So this is actually an upgrade for my machine. $80. This actually, when it first came out, was $130. This is down to $180 on sale. So this is pretty solid. Still pretty good airflow. I feel like when it comes to air purifiers, the flaw is like it rates it in square footage instead of cubic footage.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's across the industry and it sucks. But in any event, this is pretty solid. It has a silent mode too, which is fantastic. So if your ears are sensitive to like that fan whir, it's not really a problem with these. They're pretty quiet to begin with. I have mine running now, and you probably can't hear it because I can't hear it.
I have tinnitus, so if I don't have a fan running, my ears are ringing. So I keep mine on loud mode.
You want the extra loud.
I want the extra loud fans.
That's fair. If you need like Wi-Fi functionality to like monitor it or turn it on, the other thing is if you run the smart versions, you can actually set them on timers. So one thing I'll do is I'll actually have mine set to turn on about a half an hour before I come down into the shop. Because it's a basement and it gets funky if I don't run it for like a whole weekend. So
I forgot to add some of those Casa smart switches. Would have been a good add too.
Yes.
You can add them later.
Yeah, we'll look that up for sure.
So we'll keep
so much for your lightning round. I ruined that in one swift stroke. It's just
you did.
like denied.
It's okay. We tag teamed that ruining. This is a U deal right here.
Yeah, I actually have this like 45 feet away from me, and I made 3/4 of a video about it, and I never finished it because it didn't do what I wanted it to do, but it's still a really interesting tool. So I thought that when I accepted this from Kai Wheats for review, because I sent it over for free, I didn't buy this, though I think the price is very fair. My idea was I would be able to monitor specific temperatures that my substrates were reaching during engraving in order to make changes to settings and really dial things in. And it turns out that this doesn't really have the resolution for that. But what it does have the resolution for, and the reason I need to shift the script in that video, is it does a really good job monitoring overall temperatures for like entire parts. So if you are looking for something to do that job, this works super duper well. It's really nice for checking how hot like coins are getting, right? Or making sure that metal, if you're doing thinner metals or steels, making sure that those materials aren't getting so hot that they start to warp. You can actually monitor the temperature at which they begin to warp, and then use a tool like this to make sure that you're not reaching those temperatures, or to pause the job if things are getting too hot or whatever. This can be really useful for that. It also makes really cool videos because you can slap an SD card in this thing and take photos or videos with it, which is awesome as well. So there are a few different things that I'd recommend checking this out for. I haven't really figured out how to word all of it yet, and that's part of the reason why this video hasn't been completed. But it is an interesting thing, and the price is so much cheaper than a lot of other real thermal cameras cost, that it's something worth considering if you think you might have a use case for it. It's hard to verbalize what that use case would be right now, but that's what I'm working on in the script. So yeah, the only thing that I'll say extra about this is that it is real thermal imaging. It is not like an IR camera, right? This is a real thermal camera. And to be able to pick up a real thermal camera for $230 that you can point at things on a laser bed is a really surprisingly solid deal. I'm just not entirely sure why yet, but I am working on that, and hopefully I'll have some good reasons in the future. Nonetheless, I did want to throw it out there because it's a fun thing that I really like, and I saw it was on sale, so I threw it up there.
And this just in, Andrew's first.
Oh, wow. Good job, Andrew. I love that guy. He's my hero. The next few products are Kai Wheats things because they have a bunch of stuff on sale right now. This particular product is just a multimeter. So if you have a multimeter, go to the next product. But if you don't have a multimeter, this one's really, really good. I give it kind of like a mini review in our episode about testing power supplies. So If you're having issues with your machine, having a multimeter can help you diagnose that. If you look up laser everything power supply testing, that video will come up. It'll be the first one in the list. And you can see not only the multimeter, but how we use that to effectively diagnose issues or confirm that everything is working as it should be. It's not as great as like a benchtop power supply in combination with an, like an electronic load would be way more efficient at diagnosing power supply issues. But this can give you a quick idea whether or not something is wrong and help you to diagnose whether or not, at the very least, you need to replace it, especially under load. And I really like this one in particular. This was what kind of turned me on to the Kai Wheats brand to begin with, and they make some nice stuff. So for that reason, I added it to the list.
Yeah.
More.
They're wire cutters. They're for cutting wires. It's a good one.
It's a post digger for digging posts.
Yeah, they're just, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, they're just Kai Wheats because they were on sale. And
yeah, I like that they have the wire stripper like gauges there too.
they do. The next product is an actual pair of wire strippers from them as well, dedicated, if that's something that you need. I just think that people should have the tools that they need to be able to repair their equipment, and they're not complicated machines. We talk about that a lot on this channel, is how these machines really aren't that complicated outside of the laser sources, and having the right set of tools can make modifying or repairing your machine so much easier. So we have a couple quick tools on the list about that. The next one is more of the same.
Yeah. I know it's simple and I know it's cheap, but I'm going to also appreciate the fact that you have both the millimeter sizing and the wire gauge sizing.
Yep. Because
I've noticed this, but outside of the US, I feel like almost no other country uses the wire gauge values.
I don't know wire gauges at all. Like, you could be like, oh, I just got a great deal on some 14 gauge wire. I have no idea what that means.
Well, in terms of like physical size, it means absolutely nothing. But larger gauge just means smaller wire. Smaller gauge means bigger wire.
Doesn't mean shit to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've ever gauged your ears, right? Kind of the same
Double
deal.
zeros, baby. What's up?
So yeah, same idea. But anyways, it's the little things in life,
It's little things. Hey, they're wire strippers. They're for stripping wires.
These are a fancier pair. They're
Yeah,
like
they're nice.
like an automatic stripper. So you just pull it and it like whoop.
Yep.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Next.
So nice.
Come on, lightning round.
Only the spreadsheet would let him.
I know.
Precision toolkits.
I have like 4 of these in my shop. Here's one right here. They're literally all the same. They have a billion different screwdriver heads in them, and they have a bunch of really interesting ones like Torx heads and all kinds of weird random stuff that you might need to get into various electronics devices. And I really appreciate having this on me just about every day of my life. So if you don't have a precision screwdriver kit, get one. What's that?
Absolutely.
The
Yep.
next link is another one too.
Another precision screwdriver kit.
It's a more different one.
It's a more different one. This is a pouch style.
Yep.
If you like pouches.
With slightly different consumable tools as well.
If you're a kangaroo, get this one. That made Kyle giggle. All right, let's keep going. Chris Lizicki says the iFixit brand precision screwdriver kits have a lifetime warranty. That's cool.
Ew.
This is another item that I added to the list that's not on sale, but it's a CO2 fire extinguisher, which is the fire extinguisher you need if you want to put out a fire in your laser without destroying it. So yeah, it's $208. They're really expensive. And Kyle and I have discussed these at length, but yeah, like chemical CO2 or chemical fire extinguishers will like just completely destroy any electronic equipment that you shoot them at. So if you want to save your laser while putting out the fire, check out the CO2 ones. I added this to the list because the item before it, we're kind of going through our list backwards. The item before this one is a chemical one that's super inexpensive, but good luck cleaning it.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, and Alex was like, "This one's never on sale." And
In past events, I've also suggested these.
Yeah.
So these are basically like, it's like soap and like deionized water or something. But it's super easy to clean out. I would call the CO2 one as a more thorough option, and this one as a close backup, which is significantly cheaper. But you also want to make sure you turn off your exhaust when you use something like this, because otherwise you're just sucking the air right through the laser.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's not going to be effective that way.
Ed C says, I use fire blankets. They work amazing. Don't ask how I know. And we've definitely discussed on some of these buying guide episodes, fire blankets as well. I think you added them to a list an episode or two ago, Kyle.
Yeah, the last Amazon event when they were on sale, they were up.
Yep.
I'm sure I can find a link for them again if needed, but I don't think they were on sale this time around.
Yep. Here it is.
The other fire extinguisher. So these are the ones that are chemical fire extinguishers. They basically eat away stuff. So if you've ever had a car fire, this is likely what they use to put it out. And if you go and look at the car days later after it sits with this stuff on it, it basically erodes and eats away. Even at like the metal contacts are all eroded and just dead. So they're great at doing what they do. They stop things from burning, which is definitely preferred over them continuing to burn, or becoming a worse fire. But your investment into your laser might go bye-bye if you pick this one. This is like the backup, just in case kind of situation. So significantly cheaper, but with that comes the downside of your investment might go out the window. You may have to rebuild that, but again, better than the alternative.
Yeah, I'd rather lose the laser than the house, right?
Yep. You don't want somebody getting hurt. You don't want your property going bye-bye. You don't want your leased property going bye-bye. I'm sure your landlord would appreciate not having a fire at all. So,
yeah.
Ed says, I don't know, the damage of the fire sometimes is not as bad as what this can cause. If it's small enough and controlled enough, but that's not always the option or a choice. So.
Yeah, I think the large idea is that you're making an assumption that the fire, if left unchecked, will spread outside of the laser. Yeah.
So
smoke
staying
detectors.
on theme, we have smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. So these are great because you're literally burning stuff in your shop.
Yeah.
So this kind of gives you an indication if there's a problem before you catch it. This isn't an excuse to walk away from your laser. It's more of just if your back is turned because you're talking to a customer, it's an early warning if it catches it before you do. And also just not a bad thing to have anyway.
I really like these particular ones, not only because they're kid brand. A lot of the smoke detectors on Amazon are just literal garbage, but these also have the CO alarm built in, and CO will kill you without you knowing that it's killing you. So it's really good when you're burning something, anything. You see that a lot with like fuels, right? When you're doing like you have a gas stove, or you're barbecuing or burning fuel for a lantern or whatever. Carbon monoxide is really, really nasty, and it can make you super sick and kill you, and you can't see it and you can't smell it. So even if there's no smoke, you could be poisoning yourself with carbon monoxide. So having the CO functionality in here is a big plus, I think.
Yeah, and kid brand, like Alex said, they're kind of like the de facto standard for like butt kicking when it comes to sensors like this.
Yep.
They also make a really great like explosive gas alarm and like other stuff.
Yep.
So like I have one of these combos that also does gas over by my furnace. I have carbon monoxide and smoke. There's one behind my shelf by the CO2 gantry. And I keep one by my exhaust ports actually over in the corner because that will help me know if there's a leak. Ideally, at least that's the goal. So just, backups. They're cheap insurance. It's better to have protection than to not have protection.
Andrew says he unplugs his every time Beth cooks.
Oof.
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 Be nice to your wife.
Inline fans, don't waste your time clicking through all three of these links, Kyle, because I linked the R4, the R6, and the R8, which are all inline duct fans. So they're not going to do great against static pressure. They have the centrifugal fan. It's not on sale. It's the Z8, which is linked in the buying guide if that's something you're interested in. These are to be used more as boosters, and they are super inexpensive and on sale. I really like the VivoSun centrifugal fan that I have. I'm assuming, I haven't purchased one of their inline fans before. I'm assuming the quality is somewhere in the ballpark of their very high quality centrifugal fan. The reason that we picked VivoSun for this episode instead of AC Infinity is because AC Infinity's products are not on sale for Prime Day. So I linked some VivoSun ones for you guys. You can save a fair bit of money. These are actually like really on sale right now. So if you need some fans or you have a fan that needs replacing, consider one of the VivoSuns. They're a company that's really warmed and grown on me in my time doing this. So,
yep, I also have a VivoSun centrifugal now, and I also really enjoy it. So
yeah, it's a great
fan.
Bro.
I heard you like air.
Heard you like air, bro. Yeah. So next three links, all VivoSun, just in varying sizes.
Yep. So we're gonna skip ahead. Ultimate Air Assist. So I actually have a video coming on this. I've been struggling with how I want to format it and also the extra resources I'm including with it to make it more approachable, because not everybody feels like they're comfortable approaching wiring in add-ons and stuff like that. But this is a good find. I don't know whose list this came off of, but I didn't see it on sale, and I'm glad you caught it, because this is actually really good.
Off the buying guide?
What? Yeah.
The Ultimate Air Assist kit? Yeah, nice. Rhiannon got that right off the buying guide.
Yes. Rhiannon coming in clutch with that.
Yeah.
I bought mine for full price.
It's like $15 off. I didn't even realize. Yeah, that's dope.
Yep. So I bought mine for full price. The only thing I did change, full disclosure, I ended up buying a second relay. So the thing on the top right here that kind of looks like a weird zigzag with a piece of metal at the bottom.
Yeah.
I bought a second one of those. So when the machine is off, basically I can leave my compressor attached and no air goes through the system. The way it's set up by default, there's a passive leak always if the machine is off, because that's your no air assist level of air movement to keep the lens clean. I wanted to be able to turn my machine on and off throughout the day without having to worry about my compressor kicking on 500 times.
Right.
And then obviously when you're calling for air assist and light burn, it sends whatever your high pressure setting is, which you set. So
more on that in an upcoming episode.
Correct. I'm excited for that one. I'm just struggling through trying to make it as approachable and easy as possible, but I will not rest until it's as good as it can be.
There's also a comment about the VivoSun fans.
Yeah. Chris has had a VivoSun 6-inch for 2 diodes for over 2 years. Just got to clean them, he says.
Clean it periodically. Yeah. That's always
they
a good thing to do.
Get grimy. Brilliance laser inks, not on sale, but $35 is not a bad deal, especially if you are in the US. So if you need some, get some. We have episodes about it on the channel.
if I'm not mistaken, these cans are normally like 50 to $60 a piece.
I think that's true, but I don't see any indication of a sale. So
Yeah, I don't know if it could be a situation where the brands are putting in a new price instead of setting a sale price.
sure.
But I've definitely seen this for like $50.
Yeah.
You could also go to something like what is it called? Camel or something, to check the retail price history on this. Sometimes they don't have a history on like niche stuff like this, but
Oh, see, they are talking about it on their website being on sale.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
cheaper,
typically look like they are $48.95 on their website.
And
Yeah.
it's on sale on their website.
And that's on sale on their website. And then they have Amazon Prime Day, save up to 30% off. Go to our Amazon storefront now. So if I click this, I can't.
So yeah,
click
maybe
this.
they just put their sale in
Oh,
differently.
Amazon US. Here we go. Let's see. What do you guys? There's nothing on their front page. This is so frustrating.
Oh, you know what it is? They defaulted it to subscribe and save. If you go to the
Okay.
one-time purchase, it tells you the price.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you can see it. So Prime big deal. So it is actually Prime big deal. So yeah, 37.46 over 49.95, 25% off. So yeah, solid actually. Great.
Vince also says the powder version is usually cheaper, but you have to apply it with like an airbrush or a brush.
Most people aren't going to do that.
Yeah. Just depends on your workflow and what you need to do. This is nice.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Honeycomb laser bed.
So cheap. The price is just like perfect, and I was like, I gotta add this for the 12-inch by 12-inch. So it's a square foot. Like I would love to have a little tiny one, like a little tiny honeycomb bed to throw under the Xtool or to throw under the F1, or even to if I was gonna cut on like the CO2 Galvo. If I was going to cut things repeatedly, I thought something like this would be perfect. And the fact that it's only a foot big means that it'll fit neatly on top of the like cheese board, breadboard, work area of the Galvo laser, and give you kind of like that cutting depth needed so that you're not cutting right on the metal surface. So I thought this was just a dope item at a super inexpensive price. There are a few other brands that are putting these on like Prime Day sale, but this one seemed the highest quality to me. They are making a really nice one. They have the rule on them. They have padded corners. So I like this one for a few different reasons. And if you don't have one, you should get one, especially for this. I think the CO2 Galvo is kind of the prime use case on this. I would really
Maybe
like to have one of these. Yeah, or the UV. Yeah, sure. If you're going to do cutting, absolutely. So
I really like that there's a backstop that comes with it. It almost looks magnetic, but it doesn't indicate if it is or not.
Yeah.
But either way, just having a piece of sheet metal underneath to protect your tabletop and your workbench is super nice.
Chris got me one of these when we had the little diode.
Yeah.
And it was helpful.
And you can see too the honeycomb. Wow, I'm losing it. How long have we been going? The honeycomb bed comes in multiple sizes. It's not just the 12-inch version. So there are a few different sizes. They're all inexpensive and they're all on sale for Prime Day.
Yep. Ed says, for the F1 Ultra. Yeah, that's a good point. And it looks shallow enough where it's not going to be a huge hindrance to your focal range either.
Yep.
So solid.
Yep, it was a good find.
Oh, here's the link you were waiting for.
Is it? Oh yeah, the gloves. Great. So we were talking about those acrylic ornaments earlier. If you handle those with these gloves, you don't have to worry about wiping your disgusting oily fingerprints off of them. You can just handle them. It's also really good for mirror finished metals, brass, anything that's going to corrode over time is always best to handle with these kind of gloves. They're not super great if you get them like snagged on engraved areas, which can happen from time to time because you rip the cotton out. But they are really good for packaging things that you've spent a long time cleaning and you don't want to waste time doing that again and again and again every time you touch them. I just bought like a huge bag of them. These are on Prime deal, so it was like $3.99 for like 7 pairs. They have a dozen of them for $8, I think. I got like a literal like half-size laundry bag full of them from Amazon, and I just keep it in the corner of the shop, and I grab a pair out, use it for a little bit, and then throw them away. Yeah, I see it. Very funny, Anthony.
Anthony uses them when he eats Cheetos.
So this is just one of those weird random things that I like to keep around. Again, I thought of them earlier when we were talking about the acrylic ornaments, but there's a ton of different substrates that you could be working with where this is going to make a big difference just as far as the having to clean things and get things prepped for delivery. So
I actually have a set of these for when I'm doing glass ornaments on the UV, or like wine glasses that I don't want to re-clean. So they go on before I even open the box of whatever I'm engraving, because I just don't want to deal with wiping them all out. And with the UV, all you need is literally a little puff of air and they're clean. So that's the move. Saves so much time. Cloud Ray 5200, SNA 5200, basically.
These things are getting so cheap. I think that light objects are still cheaper and probably better, but this is also a really strong deal.
This is a buying guide one.
Yeah. So when I got my SNA 5200 a couple of years ago off of Amazon, it was like $890 delivered.
Yeah, so was mine.
So even the non-sale price beats that, but $455 is like half off, which is insane to me. So if you need a chiller, throw this one into the ring. Yeah,
this is just an SNA 5200 with the Cloud Ray sticker thrown on the front of it, and they're tanks. Jimmy's ran when he passed away. It was still running, and it was full of what Kyle called quote unquote swamp water. And it still ran and cooled the swamp water very well. So, I mean, you can just beat the living hell out of these things, and they work really good. Vince in the comments is saying, I like my Light Object 1600. Light Object makes 3 different size chillers, and they're all really, really good. They're all linked in the buying guide. So if you would prefer to check out one of those, the pricing is competitive to this on sale for their normal pricing. And they're really, really good chillers. I have a 1600 here too as well that I'm a big fan of. But I also really like these. The SNA 5200s are just, like I said, they're just like freaking tanks. They're just go.
They really are.
Yeah.
And they rarely break. Nothing really ever goes wrong with them. If you really beat the crap out of it and run it 24/7 for years, you might have to swap out a pump. But the nice thing is you can swap out the pump.
Yeah. So they're super accessible inside. Also, I will also just want to point out really quick that this is the chiller one. I forget the model number on the not chiller one. I don't remember. Guys, the 5200 specifically.
3000, I think.
Yeah, the 3000 series. So the difference between the 3000 series and the 5000 series. The 3000 series passes the water through a radiator that gets blown on by a fan, and that is it. The 5200 and the other entries in the 5000 series actually use a compressor to refrigerate the water actively. And if you're using anything over like a 40-watt CO2 laser tube, you absolutely need to have some kind of refrigerant involved in this process. Do not get the 3000 series thinking you're saving a buck because you're going to destroy your tube in the long term. You really, really, really want to have that water refrigerated. It's key.
Especially if you're using your machine for cutting, where it's going to be on for longer periods of time in longer bursts.
Yeah.
Where it's just not turning off. It doesn't get an opportunity to actually cool down. You need that extra cooling capacity.
Yep. Are you learning a lot today?
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I'm
Vince,
convinced.
Vince
I'm
says
convinced-
the 3000 is only a chiller if you store it outside during the winter.
yeah, which you shouldn't do.
It's pretty funny. though.
Yeah, accurate though. Jimmy had one of those bird bath ponds outside his shop. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure the chiller I picked up from there was filled from that.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah,
Rip Jimmy, you were the worst.
we miss you, buddy. The Xtool F1 desktop smoke air purifier.
Yeah, this thing's a little beast, and I use it a lot more than I thought I would. I use it on the WeCreate. I use it on the Xtool F1. I would use it on the F1 Ultra if they would send one. And it's a little hoss, dude. It actually does a really, really good job cleaning the air. It's obviously not going to remove things like the leather stank from your breathing air, but the filters are lasting a really long time. I'll even use the hose that it came with as suction over the open bed diodes like the Xtool D1 Pro, because the hose is kind of like a pseudo gooseneck. It'll actually kind of like bend and just kind of sit above the engraving area on a gantry diode, which is really nice. And I thought it was a fair price. If you're looking at other fume extractors, they're going to be usually substantially more expensive than this.
Like double or more.
Yeah, and it's one of those products where it's kind of, I'd argue, on the more difficult end to find a quality version of this. The alternatives are all kind of brandless Chinese alternatives. There's one that we have on the buying guide that I've been looking at for a long time, but I've never purchased. It's the only one that looks even somewhat decent for this kind of application. And even then, a lot of those are just really meant for like soldering fumes, not engraving work. And so I think Xtool did a really good job with their little mini extractor. It's one of their products that I actually really, really genuinely like. And I think the price is right. I don't think it's a steal right now, but I think if you buy it when it's on sale, like that's the price that you should be paying for it. So I think at $299, I think it's a fair value, and it's something to consider, especially if you're using, again, one of Xtool's products. Or you're exhausting something smaller like the WeCreate enclosed lasers, but you don't have a really good extraction unit for it. This can do super well because it uses a standard size hose. Or use case number 3, again, open lasers, like class 4 diode lasers, where it's just kind of open air and there is no method for extraction or exhaust. That pseudo gooseneck kind of like hosing that it comes with is actually pretty strong. And you can get it up over the work area to remove some of those fumes. So that's definitely a neat little product. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah. Quick pause. If you're getting value out of the stream, smash the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we go live and do stuff like this to help you save money or find cool stuff.
Please do.
Or during our normal podcasts where we do Q&As and our usual videos where we do projects and educational content.
Yeah.
It's appreciated, it's free, and hopefully you're saving money.
If you want to find out other ways you can support our channel, you can head over to lasereverything.net/support to find out how.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right. We're into lenses now, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Lenses were another thing that were hard to find. But I threw the generic stuff up there because a lot of the larger brands just have their like kind of cannon fodder stuff on sale. So if you need extras, now's the time to buy. We don't have to spend too long sitting on each of these. My only note here with the CO2 laser lenses is to make sure that you're getting the right diameter for your laser nozzle. So if you get the wrong diameter, it's not going to fit. It'll be too small or too wide. So make sure that you're reading. That first layer of options is your diameter, the actual diameter of the lens for the laser nozzle. The second set of options is the focal distance. And as always, in everything laser, guys, the longer the focal distance, the greater your depth of field, but the larger your dot size. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about that right now. We talk about it almost every week on the podcast, but just things to keep in mind while ordering. So yes, Cloud Ray CO2 laser lenses, great.
This actually probably couldn't come at a better time anyway, too, because going into the holiday season is the exact time where you don't want downtime.
Yeah.
So having something cheap like this on hand as a backup, whether you need it or not, the fact that you could need it and you might have to wait 2 days or more to get it, or in this case, 4 days for me, but who knows how far you are from the warehouse they're being stored at. It can really save you potentially hundreds of dollars depending on the amount of product you move through your business, and particularly how busy you are during the holidays. So just keep that in mind when it comes to keeping stuff on hand for replacement parts.
More lenses. I added these because they were a Prime Day deal, but this is one of those ones I was talking about earlier where it's like, I don't really know why they slapped a brand name on this. The only reason I decided ultimately to add it was because the lenses are marked JG. So if that's an actual photo of the lens that you get, then it should be a pretty solid build, because JG lenses are good. We have a ton of JG lenses. I'm sure Kyle has JG lenses.
I do have a couple. They're solid.
Yeah, they're solid lenses. So if they're just slapping a name on it and throwing them up, this might just be a inexpensive way to get your hands on some JG glass, which is never a bad thing. So I thought I'd include it. It is a little bit of a risk, but there's a good chance you are going to get a solid lens in the mail. They have a few different sizes available, and they're on sale for $76, which is about what you should be spending on fiber laser lenses anyway. So,
yep. In a worst case scenario where you get something that's damaged or unusable, it is fulfilled by Amazon.
Yep.
So you do have that as a fallback protection, their typical 30-day refund and replacement. So at least you got that going for you too.
Yep.
So kind of mitigates some of that risk. It's a more different lens in a bigger size.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, they're all just Cloud Ray or
How many
this
do
one.
we go up?
Yeah.
But
So
the last four were fibers.
Oh yeah, go up to hit up that Cloud Ray F Theta fiber lens really quick, because I did want to talk about that really quick. The very first one.
Oh, that wasn't the first one.
I think those are just different sizes too.
So I did include this because it's a Prime Day deal. It's a 50 by 50 millimeter lens. Not all of Cloud Ray's F Theta lenses for fiber lasers are on sale, but this one is, and a few of the others are. And if you have a laser that you think is underpowered, get this and watch it whip, because 50 millimeter lasers focus your beam to such a fine point that even 20 watt lasers will feel super powerful. Of course, it's a 50 by 50, so your engraving space is literally going to be a 2-inch square, but it will be a super strong 2-inch square. And this is a super great way to mitigate issues when you find yourself faced with like really low power output. So if you got a super cheap laser when you started and it came with an underpowered source, and there's some materials that you wanted to work with, especially super reflective ones like silver, this could be the solution to that problem. And again, it's a very short focal distance. It's a small work area, but it really focuses in that power into a fine spot, and you're gonna notice a huge performance increase. So if you've never played around with a 50 by 50 or a 70 by 70, give them a shot, because they're a lot of fun, especially on the actual high powered lasers, dude. Oh my god, I put the 70.
Ridiculous.
I put the 70 on the 80 watt, and it's insane. It's like someone's shooting a machine gun. It's absolutely out of this world.
It doesn't know what to do with itself. It's just throwing material everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So if you haven't checked these out, they're on sale.
Yeah,
you get them in what, 2 days or whatever. So
yeah. Another
good
thing,
reason,
like Alex said, super short focal distance. So keep that in mind as well when you're looking to do more than just a shallow engrave.
Yep.
And we're into machines.
Cool. We're in the final stretch, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. This has been a long stream.
Yeah.
The WeCreate Vision 20 watt super awesome machine. Very cool. I had a lot of fun playing with it during review time, and we have a complete unboxing and test video that we did live out on the studio floor. That is a lot of fun to watch. I actually really enjoyed that episode, and I really enjoyed this machine. They also sent over their 40-watt version, which we also unboxed, and that's also a super nice machine. I didn't see the 40-watt when I was doing my scrolling earlier, but I did see the 20 watts, so I made sure to add it to the list. The price with everything included is probably just a touch steep, but the sale price makes it a little bit more digestible. And it does have a great diode module on it. It has a built-in booster fan. It's got a standard sized exhaust port. It comes with a rotary. It comes with a knife table. It's a really strong contender right now as far as the diode laser space goes, and I would highly recommend it, especially if you're looking for something that's class 1. If safety is a priority for you, or you're uncomfortable using diode lasers because most of them are class 4 or open lasers, the WeCreate can be a stellar option. So I really like this laser. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. I think the MSRP typical price is based on like $100 markup versus direct buy.
Sure.
But the on sale price, I think, was their it's like matching their original launch price from when this first launched.
Yeah.
So in terms of competitiveness, that's pretty solid.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when Amazon's still taking their cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Xtool. Speaking of the Xtool, Ed's asking if he can put the lenses on the F1 Ultra. No, you can't, because the F1 Ultra does not have a changeable lens on it. What it comes with is what you get. It is actually a perma lens. So if you ever needed to change that out, Xtool's policy on that is shipping the machine back to get it swapped.
Right. That said, the F1's a pretty sweet little machine. I haven't played with an Ultra because somebody hasn't sent it to me. Xtool, but the regular F1 is a great little machine. I really, really like it. You guys have seen me do dozens of projects with it at this point. One of the great showcases for this machine is actually that Leatherette video I'd mentioned earlier, where we did a lot of really, really cool projects with this. I also did some wood cutting projects that you guys haven't seen yet with this. Wood cutting projects with this machine. The software that it runs on, yes, it's Lightburn compatible, but that's honestly not the best experience. It runs on the Xtool Creative Suite, which is a really solid piece of software, and it's definitely gotten better over time. When they first started the XCS software, I think it was back in like the Xtool D1 days, it was rough, and it did not do nearly enough to provide a positive user experience. And now the landscape has completely changed with it. It's a really solid piece of software now. It's not Lightburn, but it's really solid, and it does some cool little party tricks that you can't necessarily do on other lasers. And as far as more in-depth stuff goes, I'll save it for a final review on this. I'm actually working on some machine reviews right now. You can see the Bi-Laser GS20 behind me. So I might actually publish like a real final review for this, but we have, again, a million Xtool unboxings, initial impressions videos, and we use it in our project videos, and it's been a good standby laser. It's also a quarter of the price of the F1 Ultra. So while you only get the 2 watts of infrared out of this one instead of the dedicated fiber that you get out of the Ultra, the 2 watts was still able to do some pretty interesting things, and it compensates for the drawbacks of the galvo diode aspect of the machine fairly well, despite its low wattage. So all of that in mind, $1,300 seems and feels pretty fair compared to the $4,500 asking price of the F1 Ultra these days. And I don't think that the regular original F1 should be written off just because the Ultra's out. I still like this one. It's also way smaller. So
yeah. In terms of pricing too, that's pretty beastly, because I'm actually, you can't see it, but I'm working on a video for the Longer Nano Pro, which is like Longer's version of this, but it's only diode. It's not fiber. So
Cool.
in terms of price to what you get, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
There's another Xtool if you want to stay on that topic in the first spot.
It's the D1 Pro.
Yeah.
Which I did do a full review for, and you can watch it on the channel. You can also read it on the buying guide. So if you go onto the buying guide and go under diode gantry lasers, you'll find this laser with a full written review, including written updates to my review that reflect on how the price has changed and how my feelings about it have changed since its initial release. And basically this costs pennies now. This combo kit with the RA2 Pro is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars cheaper than it originally was when it released. It still uses a really awesome diode module. It's got a nice big 400 by 400 millimeter bed. There's a lot to like about the Xtool D1 Pro, and it is all, again, that much more digestible with its newer, lower price tag, since Xtool's been really galvo focused lately. They've been working on those galvo lasers or their CO2 variants, and they haven't been paying as much attention to the diode stuff. So the diode stuff has really dropped in price. And so again, I've made the case multiple times today for why you might want a diode laser and what things it's really good for. If you're in the market for one and you want something on the higher end that is upgradable, either in size, you can get extension kits for this, or in wattage. They do make a 40 watt module for this now, I think. Or no, excuse me, I think it's 10 and 20. They might have a 40. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
I believe they have a 40.
Yeah, all of that stuff is available from Xtool and on Amazon, so you can upgrade this as you go to $850 on an entry price for what I would consider a prosumer to professional level laser engraver. This is a package that makes sense, so that's why I included this one.
And they're also doing Christmas ornaments on their rotary.
Yeah.
The O'Farrow.
This is like the entry level machines. This is the complete opposite of the Xtool D1 Pro. It is some aluminum extrusions and a diode, and that is it. I mean, it doesn't even have limit switches. That said, it does work. It does what it's supposed to do, and I haven't had any problems with mine yet, which is saying a lot in the diode world. So they have a pretty wide range of laser attachments you can get for this. They have the 2-2, which is a 2 watt blue light diode. They have the 2-4 long focus and short focus. So they have a specific module for cutting and a specific module for engraving. So it does better at both of those things. And there's also a 10 watt module that you can get as part of an upgrade kit that involves some extra wires and things that you have to kind of sort out. But I have also tested that, and that also works well. So again, if you're looking for some expandability, but you don't want to start at $800, but you'd like to mess with some diode stuff and add diode to your laser lineup, this might be somewhere to look. If I was giving you a personal recommendation, I would tell you to just go buy the D1 Pro. But if you're still feeling a little shaky about committing to that, this is a great way to get started with diode stuff without all of the luxury of something like the D1 Pro, while still adding diode to the lineup. So
yeah, if you have like the tightest of budgets and you're not sure if lasers for you kind of thing,
yeah,
this is a great starting point.
Yep.
And last but not least,
Mm-hmm.
the O'Farrow Laser 2. No.
We'll have to update that.
Oh, is that the bad link?
Yep. LaserPecker.
It's the LaserPecker one. I specifically added the LaserPecker 2 for the same reason that this is the 4. What's the 2 at?
There we go.
Yeah, I added the 2 for the same reason I added the D1 Pro. This is a machine that's kind of been forgotten about in the wake of the release of like the F1 and the F1 Ultra and all of the kind of new super popular stuff that's been hitting the market. Not super good software, not a particularly interesting laser, but it does give you diode galvo capability in a neat and very, very small little package. When this came out, I think it was like $2,000. It was like the most overpriced thing I could ever possibly imagine. And now it's like $800, which I think is more fair. I don't think it's a steal, but I think it's more fair. And if you really want to play with the galvo aspect of diode lasers, this is probably on the lower end of the price points that I would be comfortable recommending. There are cheaper ones out there, and I don't think that I have the faith to recommend you buy them right now. But this I have had in my shop. I've used it many times, and it has performed consistently. It still performs consistently. It's pretty easy to set up, and it does diode stuff a hell of a lot faster than the gantries do it. So if that's something that you're interested in, and that specific use case sounds like something that you would be able to take advantage of either on the road or in your shop, this could be a decent option for you. Because again, the price is better than it used to be substantially. It's again not the cheapest laser in the world. You'd be far better off getting a gantry, but for mobile stuff, this really could be a solid option, especially if you don't want to dish out for the F1.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
The longer Nano Pro that I'm looking at is 12 watts of optical output, and that's still up there in price because it's brand new.
Yeah,
but doesn't have the software problems though.
It's good.
But this is better budget wise.
Yeah, LaserPecker software is a little jank, but
yeah,
the machine is nice.
Yep.
All right, are we done?
We're done.
That was
that's
crazy.
The list.
Wow, that only took 3 hours.
Just 3 hours.
If you were here the whole time, 55 of you are still here. That's incredible. Thank you so much for hanging out with us live. I really appreciate you guys being here. I really like seeing your comments. Ed, Vince, Resin, Gearant, Anthony, the guys that are always here, the guys and gals that never miss a show. I really genuinely love hanging out with you, and I'm looking forward to doing this again. It's probably the only reason I still do these buying guide episodes. Everybody loves watching them so much, but really for me, it's just another opportunity and excuse to sit on my ass and hang out with you guys for a few hours. So I had a lot of fun today. Brianna, I hope you learned something.
Yeah,
always. You like absorbing like a sponge.
Oh, yeah.
And
editing some podcast episodes too, so just taking all the info in.
Yeah, nice. And Kyle, thanks for covering me. I need to fix my computer now. I can't get past SDDM on my desktop. It's just like 3 black screens in front of me. I moved my whole getup over to my ThinkPad, which is why I buy ThinkPads. So because it's carrying the show right now. But yeah, links are again down in the description if you guys haven't for some reason seen that whole Excel sheet that Kyle was clicking through the entire episode is down there for your viewing and purchasing pleasure.
Yep.
One more disclaimer, they are all affiliate links, so when you purchase with those links, you help support the channel at no cost to you, so we really do appreciate that. And if you would like to help support the channel even further and far more substantially, because affiliate income is kind of weak, you can go check out lasereverything.net, and there is a page on there called support. It's lasereverything.net/support, and there's a whole bunch of ways that you can support everything that we do here, all of our episodes, all of our guides, all of our databases, all of the website tools, everything, all of our communities. It's all run off of people just like you that support us because they want to, and we're super grateful for that as well. As always, though, if you got value out of this one, don't forget to smash the like button. Let everybody else know the content was good. And don't forget to subscribe, please. Most of our viewers are not subscribed. It's like 97% are not subscribed, which is bizarre. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us out. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get notified the next time we go live. I think that's all I've got. Kyle, do you have anything to sprinkle on top of that?
I do. Thanks again to Johnson Plastics for
hooking
us up and supporting us for another episode of the podcast. This is a super long one, And while they don't sell their stuff on Amazon, they do have really good deals. So check out the link in the description below, as well as the coupon code. What's that code again, Alex?
YLRZDF. Hey, look, I'm Matt now.
But if it changes, check in the description. We'll update it so you get the coupon code no matter what.
Yeah.
They got everything from cups to coasters to freaking ornaments, man. So if the Amazon deals aren't hooking you up right now, check out what they got down below as well.
JP Plus is absolutely bae. And one final thought before we head out, guys. Please, please, please do not buy Leatherette from Amazon.com. All right. That's all I've got, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in for this one. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Should I do Matt's finger guns for him too?
Do it.